Hey friends, before we dive into tonight's story, did you know that nearly 80% of the people who watch these videos aren't subscribed? If you're enjoying this kind of content, consider hitting the subscribe button. It really helps a lot, and it keeps these long stories going. Also, I'd love to hear from you. What time is it right now where you are, and which city are you listening from tonight? And if these stories help you sleep, feel free to tap the thanks button to support the channel. It truly means a lot. All right, let's get into it. I pull the mic closer. It's 12:03 a.m. on a Tuesday, week 3 of my rotation. K9. Rex is in the cruiser's back, curled in his dog bed, breathing low. I flick on the overheads, ease onto the 2-lane road that cuts through the scrub fields east of town. Radio crackles. Nothing more than static station chatter. Just the usual, routine noise complaint. Caller says there's pounding coming from the old Miller place off County Line Road. They hear thuds through the walls like someone dragging furniture at 2 a.m. Reckon it's kids messing around, ghosts of squatters, or the next meth lab experiment. Whatever it is, they can't sleep, and that's enough to send me out tonight. I turn down the headlamp's intensity to avoid spooking the animals. Gravel digs into my tires. Steam curls up from a manhole cover in the middle of the road. There's been rain, though not enough to flood anything. Fog rises off the fields. A distant train horn wails, stretched and hollow in the dark. I hit the brakes just before the driveway, sighting a mass of trees that swallow the farmhouse. Miller Place used to be a cracker box home, set back 100 feet from the road. Now it's a squat ruin, broken windows boarded, siding peeling. I flick on my flashlight and step out. Rex noses the air. He's calm but alert. On my second step, I hear it, a rhythmic thump, low, muffled, coming from inside. Not loud, but deliberate, like something heavy being shifted. I lift my chin to the porch's edge. A single bare bulb hangs by a frayed wire in the entryway, flickering in tired intervals. Doesn't quite die out, just enough to send strobing shadows across the threshold. Porch boards groan underfoot, they're rotten, and I move slow, planting each foot carefully. Rex steps beside me, his leash loose in my hand. I call out, "Sheriff's office." "Anyone in here?" My voice cracks, betraying how late it is. Silence follows, heavy and thick. The thumping stops. Air stops with it, like the world went quiet just to see what I do next. Nothing moves inside. I press my ear to the door. Can't tell if it's locked. Light flicks again. I turn on the holosight, just enough glow to work with. I nudge the door. It swings inward, slow, on rusty hinges. Cheap protest. Smell hits, damp wood, old rot, and beneath it, something else. Metal, like oil or blood, sharpened by mold. I step inside. Hallway narrow, walls rotten, plaster cracking. A section of ceiling fan blade lies on the floor, bent. The front room to my left has a sofa torn in half and a dresser drawer pulled out and emptied. Trash and broken glass under a single broken lamp. No sign of people, no footprints, just circles of dust disturbed. Then the back door's frame, splintered wood, fresh. It looks like something was forced, but not enough to break away entirely. Rex stays by my boots. I shine the light down the hall, a staircase to the right, leading up, and a dark opening to the left. The thumping noise must be upstairs. I radio it in. "Deputy Vega, I've got forced entry here at the Miller place." No sign of squad, checking second floor. I hear the dispatch confirm something about traffic stops elsewhere. No backup for at least 10 minutes. Fine, I move. I kick my legs up one step at a time, calling for whoever's up here to come out. Nothing answers. The steps are dry rot, each creaks ominously, like there's someone hiding above, listening. Reach the landing and see a hallway with 3 doors, all cracked open. Thump, my heart. It's slow. I shine toward the first door. It's the bathroom. Tiled floor, sink half broken off, rust in the tub. Nothing here. Next door, bedroom. Curtain fluttering through windows nailed shut. No wind. I shine on the bed, sheets tossed. On the mattress there's a single shoe, adult, scuffed, but no matching pair. I step closer, the other shoe's gone. Third door, lean and rusty hinges squeal as I push. Closet, nothing but a single wooden crate. I sweep the light inside, flash of something metal. I drop to one knee, pry the crate open. Bunch of empty bottles, expired food boxes, and then a Polaroid tucked under the lid. I pull it out. Picture of a young man, maybe 20, smiling in daylight. He looks alive, happy. Someone scrawled on the back, "Gone by midnight." My chest tightens. I turn and freeze. The fourth door. There's no fourth door. But there's an opening at the end, like a crawlspace entrance. Half the door's missing. I shine in. It's a shallow loft. Cards and coins scattered across dusty boards. A single chair and the thump. Now, I'm sure it's coming from back here, low and steady, against the far wall. I back up, hand on my holster. Rex snarls, low in his throat. I tap my light off. Only the red dot from my hollow sight. I ease forward, can't see the source. Thump, 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 rhythm of a heartbeat slow. But walls are brick, nothing lives behind them. Then the breathing. Soft, shallow, a slow gasp. I swing my light, a shape at the base of the wall, a body. I step forward, knife flash. But no one there, just a hole in the brick. Something moved inside. I raise my flashlight. Light dances across the inside edge of a vent that shouldn't be there. Before I can call it in, the roof overhead groans hard. Poles shift. Dust rains down. I spin around. Light through the window upstairs now floods the hall. Could be dawn, could be a spotlight, hard to tell. I hit my mic. Dispatch, get me a unit here. Possible person in walls. The thump stops. Silence again, sharper this time. Rex noses the vent, giving a low whine. I step up, rest the barrel of my flashlight against the vent cover. I grip my baton, half ready in case someone jumps out. Then dispatch breaks in. Unit 42. Officer down at Silver Lake Gas. You there, Vega? Wrong call. Silver Lake is miles south. Then, units en route. ETA 3 minutes. 3 minutes feels like half an eternity. I yank the vent cover off. Heavy brick dust flying. Behind it, nothing but a tangle of ducks. Deeper inside, though, something. My light catches a scrap of cloth, dark denim. I reach in, feel around. Gloves catch on something slick. Warm. I jerk back, breath catching. I peer in again. Something wet drips from the pipe above onto the floor beneath. Not water or oil, it's heavier. I lean closer, stench claws at my throat. Something moves, I jump back, heart hammering. Rex lunges, hackles raised. No thief or squatter, no intruder. Just empty space in that drip. Siren wail in the distance, rubbing against my nerves. Light hits the hallway again. I take a deep breath, steady my hands. Something's off, very off, but I can't place it. No body behind that wall, but that cloth shouldn't be there. And what is that drip? I pack the vent cover back, head downstairs. Floorboards moan under weight. I squint at the picture in my pocket, the Polaroid of that smiling kid. Gone by midnight. I palm it. The number scrawled looked fresh. No date. Front room door stands open now, wider than before. Clean break. Someone wanted out fast. I grip my baton tight, call sheriff's office. Clear out front, nothing in lobby. Rex snorts, steps past me into corridor. Then I hear it, the faintest footstep from behind the kitchen door. Slow, measured, soundless almost. I snap to it, step back, ready, light on. I shove the door. Nothing. Just an empty kitchen, linoleum floor cracked. But on the counter, a single blue sneaker, adult size, same as that Polaroid shoe, only one sneaker. I radio in, voice tight. Dispatch, I've got a shoe in the kitchen. No suspect found. Send a forensics team. My radio sputters. Weird interference. Static over the reply. The bulb in the hall flickers, then dies. I hear Rex pad over to me, his nails clicking. We share a look in the dark. That drip, steady now, echoes in my ears. I don't know who's running, who's hiding. I only know I'm standing alone in a broken house, with a kid's picture, one sneaker, and the memory of footsteps that aren't mine. 3 minutes later, headlights flood the property. My relief tastes sour. Someone's coming, but maybe they're too late. I lean against the cruiser, try to clear the fog in my chest. The world feels hollow, empty. And as I watch a couple detectives fanning out with flashlights, I think of the kid in the photo. Gone by midnight. No record in dispatch, no missing persons hit. No conclusion, just that heavy silence, the wet drip behind the wall, one shoe on a counter and me, waiting for answers that won't come. I wait here in the dark, asking myself, when someone vanishes before midnight, who listens to the echoes, and who wakes up to carry the silence? My recorder clicks off at 12:23 a.m. I sling my jacket over my shoulder, slide in beside Rex, and drive away in that empty dawn. It's 1:10 a.m. when I roll onto Willow Creek Drive, a narrow asphalt stretch flanked by cornfields and abandoned pump stations. Caller says a beige sedan's parked under a street lamp, engine idling, but no one inside. That's odd. Usually someone's dropping off or meeting. I hit the siren just long enough for the horn's echo to warn anyone within earshot. Rex twists, lifts his snout, tasting the cool night air. I cut the engine and step out. The sedan's there, hood warm, tailpipe hissing. Headlights off. I approach, flashlight in hand, K9 harness ready. The crowbar on the seat glints, but I don't draw it. Yet. I tap the driver's window. Nothing. I shine inside. Empty bottles on the floorboard. A half-smoked cigarette in the ashtray. Blood spatter on the glove compartment door. Not heavy, but enough to be noticed. I crouch, breathe deep. That drip I smelled earlier. Memory creeping back. I knock on the driver's door. Tap, tap, no answer. I try the handle, unlocked. Pressure in my gut. I swing it open. Light floods across torn upholstery and a crumpled baseball cap on the seat. Rain damp outside, but here in the car it's dry. On the passenger floor, a muddy boot print stamped in dust. Just one. Too large for a woman's shoe. Too small for most men's 13s, about a 9.5. Adult size, like that sneaker upstairs. I snap a photo with my phone. It pops a flash, disorienting in the dark. I look up. Shadows shift among the tall corn stalks, 6-foot-high swaying stalks whispering like leaves in wind. But there's no wind, just that uneasy stir of something moving. My pulse picks up. I call it in, Unit 42, suspicious vehicle, Willow Creek. Driver's seat empty, signs of blood, one muddy boot imprint. Request forensics. Static on the radio, faded channels. I hear nothing but distant thunder. Storm coming, or the storm in my head? I glance under the car. Wet patch, dark and sticky. I don gloves, touch the drip, cold and heavy. Blood, fresh. I cup my hand, warm, sticky, smells of iron. I taste metal at the back of my throat. I feel eyes on me. I swing the flashlight toward the field. It lands on an angle. An SUV half hidden in the shadows. Deadlights glowing faintly. I stare, no plate visible. Then the engine revs quietly. Out of reflex, I draw my weapon, stance low. San Diego Sheriff, show yourself. The SUV remains still. Fog drifts between us, swirling like smoke. I step back, stone-cold realization that something's off. That vehicle wasn't there when I arrived. No gear, shift marks in the dirt, no fresh tracks leading into the field. It's like it appeared, a trick of the night. Then a door creaks. The front passenger door swings open slowly, groaning on rusty hinges. I raise my flashlight, weapon tight. Rex stands stiff, growling. No silhouette steps out. Nothing but dark fabric lining the frame, empty seat. I lower my flashlight to scan the interior. Back seat's empty too. But on the dash, a note pinned under a wiper. A scrap of paper, printed in courier font. He waits at midnight. My breath hitches. Midnight passed over 10 minutes ago. I snap a picture, heart pounding. Then, I don't know why, I lean in closer, my radio crackles to life. Unit 87, we're 9 minutes out. I click the mic. Copy that. I step out of the sedan, replace the lid on the note, close the door. The hissing tailpipe stops as soon as I turn my back. The engine's dead. I shine my light at the SUV again. Nothing. No tracks, no footprints, no sign that it ever existed. A phantom car in a phantom field. I back away, rush to my cruiser, lock the doors. Rex leaps in beside me, panting, eyes wide. I sit, shake my head and think, this is impossible. Yet, I just saw it. I breathe into the mic. Dispatch, cancel forensics. Signal to Silver Lake's maintenance crews. I need someone to sweep the field for that SUV. I don't want anyone walking into it. I drive off at half speed. Behind me, the cruiser's red lights paint the corn rows in ominous strobe. Every mile I glance in the mirror, half expecting headlights to follow. But the road remains empty. I head south toward County Road 32, the freeway off-ramp near the old church parking lot. Nothing more official on the docket, but my gut says keep moving, keep ahead of the shadows. Because once you believe the impossible, the night never ends. In the rear view, I spot a single light on at that Miller place upstairs, a tiny dot in the boarded-up window. But dawn is hours away. I have more calls to run. Truth is, every shift ends like this. One impossible sighting offsets all the routine calls. Missing persons nobody filed. Sounds in the night that vanish when you approach. And then no answers. Just the question burning in your chest. Who is left in the dark to listen when nightmares roam free? I turn left onto the on-ramp. My chest tightens again as I recall the image, the paper under the wiper, that same silent code, he waits at midnight, and a kid's smiling face, gone by midnight. As I merge, headlights flood my windshield. That phantom SUV? Or my own cruiser's ghost? I step on the pedal, heartbeat matching the engine's roar. By the time I reach the church parking lot at 1:35 a.m., the fog's thick as stew. No cars there, just empty lines painted on wet asphalt. I park under a street lamp that sputters, casting half light. I kill the engine, open the door. Rex hops out, paws sinking in mud. I follow. The church stands silent, doors locked tight. I flash the light around, Gothic windows dark, steeple lost in fog. In the lot's far corner, I see a bicycle, kid-size, still upright. No basket on the handlebars, no sign of a rider. I approach, footsteps muffled. Bike chain dangling, seat splattered with mud. On the seat, a crumpled flyer from a church bake sale, tomorrow morning's event. I pick it up. Torn corner, date scribbled over in pen, midnight service. My blood runs cold. Church bake sale? Not at midnight. They don't run services then, unless someone wants an audience of ghosts. I snap the flyer, jam it in my pocket, and head back to the cruiser. My radio bursts. Unit 42, We have a code 4 at Willow Creek. Vehicle gone, no tracks. Everything clear, then static. No follow-up on the lava-thick sense of wrongness. I start the cruiser, look back at the church. Empty, black windows watching. I slide in beside Rex. He licks my hand. His eyes ask if I'm okay. I force a nod. The shift still stretches on. I punch in the next beat, trash fire at the trailer park, just until first light. But I know, once you push past normal, the night doesn't end. It just waits in the silence behind a boarded window, in the phantom SUV, in the echo of that boy's picture and one sneaker in an empty kitchen. And so I drive on, into the fog, into the drips of something red behind walls, into the echoes of calls that never made reports, because nobody would believe. My recorder's off, but the silent questions tick on. Who waits in the dark? Who listens when the midnight world scrapes its nails across our quiet fears? And when you look back, do you see your own eyes staring, or someone else's? I pull away, headlights receding, leaving behind the fold of night that never quite lets you go. The road hums under me, and I know tomorrow I'll wake to fill out reports on nothing, while carrying everything. I roll onto Briarwood Lane at exactly 2:02 a.m., the digital clock on my dash blinking red against the dark. Briarwood's the kind of street people brag about in daylight. Neat lawns, shuttered porches, and picket fences. At night, though, it's empty. The street lamps buzz like lost cicadas, and the houses stare back with dark windows and locked doors. Dispatch. Unit 42, welfare check at 246 Briarwood. Caller heard a man yelling for help around midnight, then silence. Neighbors too spooked to investigate. Rex shifts beside me. He's alert. I park under lamppost 7, light flickering overhead. Steam drifts from the sewer grate beside the curb, curling in spirals. I step out, vest clicking, boots crunching gravel. The air smells of cut grass and something tangy. Ozone, maybe from the storm front I felt earlier. House 246 sits 2 doors down. A 2-story with vinyl siding peeling in strips. Basement windows small and boarded. No cars in the driveway. Mailbox empty. The front door is closed, but I see a single curtain twitch at an upstairs window. I don't like that silent flicker. Something off. I call out, "Sir, Sheriff's Office. You okay in there?" My voice echoes off the empty street. No. Answer. I tap my mic. Dispatch, I've got no response. K9, and I will check perimeter. Rex sniffs the front porch. I circle the house, left side first. Basement window cracked, light bulb inside long burned out. No movement. I round the back, cedar trees crowd close, fence gate swinging open on one hinge. The yard's overgrown, weeds above my knees. Tall grass hides uneven ground. I pause at the back door, lock intact. I shine my light through the frosted glass, nothing but shadows. The sliding screen is dented inward, as if someone pushed from inside. I place my palm flat, press loose. It gives. I open it slowly, step in. Inside, kitchen lights gone, but green glow from the fridge clock reads 12:00, stuck. Cupboard doors hang open, empty cans lie scattered. On the counter, a half-eaten sandwich on wax paper. I crouch, breathe deep. No flies, no bugs, just stale air. I step on a broken plate. The crunch echoes. I follow the hallway. Rex stops at the carpeted stairs. The runner is rolled back at the bottom, pulled halfway up, then left, not in my stomach. I shine up. Light from the second-floor hall casts wide shadows. I climb, careful on each step. At the landing, I see a family photo on a side table. Smiling faces, 2 young boys and a woman standing in that same yard, sunlight bright on their faces. I flip it over. Baker family, 2023. Under it, muddy footprints. Why are they inside? Who walked these stairs? I hear creaking above. Not the old house settling. Something deliberate. I freeze, hand on holster. I whisper, "Rex, you up?" He steps past me, nose low, breathing slow. Upstairs, hallway, 3 doors. Closest is master, slightly ajar. I push gently. Inside, bed stripped, no mattress, just springs. Flooring torn back to wood, no bedclothes, no sign of struggle, just bare boards. Something's been moved. Second door is bathroom, door closed. I press ear, no running water. I swing the door open, sink faucet rusted, mirror cracked. On the floor, footprints and dust leading from toilet to door. I shine on the tile, red smear at the rim. I cough, step back. Third door, children's room. Door swung wide, but dark inside. A mobile dangles above a crib. Rex pushes in first, alert. I enter. Walls painted bright yellow, jungle decals peeling. On the floor, one small boot, matching size for a 4-year-old, but no pair. I pocket my light, check corners. Closet door cracked open. Inside hanging rods empty save for one tiny jacket. I lift it, smells like mildew. A pencil taped to the pocket. I unfold it. Child's drawing of a person standing outside a window, dusk sky. Scribbled below, "They come when the light goes." I step back, heart pounding. I turn on my mic, voice low. "Dispatch, I've got signs of disturbance. Possible child or children gone. Need immediate units." No answer. Static. That's when I notice a door I didn't see. At the end of the hall, a small triangular door under the eaves. It sits below a boarded window, and a rusty latch holds it shut. I feel a surge of dread. Crawl space. Why would anyone keep that closed? I unlatch it. The hinges groan. Inside, dusty crawl space, half height. I shine my light in. Boxes of old clothes, Christmas ornaments, photo albums. A faint breath puffs at me like someone just moved. I freeze. Rex whines, snarls. Something shifts deeper inside. I drop to my knees, lean forward. My blackout eye adjusts. There. A small handprint on the plywood wall, smeared in something dark. I swallow. The smell here is acrid, chemical. My head spins. I reach in, pull out a twisted length of wire, bare copper wrapped in cloth. Not sure what it was. I drop it, back away. The breath comes again, slow, deliberate, not wind. I bolt upright. "Hello?" I call. No reply. I scoot out of the space, latch it tight. Rushing blood pulses in my ears. I grab my radio. "Please respond, dispatch." Still nothing. I head back down the stairs, flashlight beam dancing over missing boards. Floor pops under my weight. I almost fall. Rex barks, low. I look down the hallway, shadow where the nursery door should be. Except now it's closed. I remember leaving it open. I rush forward, hand raised. I swing the door open, slam it, empty room. Only baby monitor perched on the dresser, static hissing. I yank it, toss it behind me. Leaves a dent in the wall, heart in my throat. I step into the hall. A sudden draft ruffles my hair. The front door slams somewhere below. I spin, no wind, windows shut tight. I hear radio chatter faintly, then cut off. My cruiser's horn beeps in the distance. I race downstairs. In the foyer, light from outside spills through the glass panels. The front door stands wide open, hinges broken off. I grip the frame, breath shallow. No footprints from outside, but on the threshold, muddy prints leading in. I step outside. Fog thicker now, visibility down to 10 feet. I train my light on the yard, footprints crossing from gate to porch, too small for mine, for Rex's, and then silhouettes. 2 small shapes crouched in the corn at the fence line. They vanish when I blink. "Hey!" I shout. "Come out!" No answer. Rex strains on the leash. I step toward the fence. My boots sink in mud. At the gate, a child's boot is buried halfway, blue matching the other. I yank it free. Inside, a folded scrap of paper. Stay hidden. We watch. Blood pumps in my ears. The yard's empty now, trees still. Only the porch light flickering. I scan the field, horizon empty, no sign of the little ones. I call over my shoulder, "Rex, get back in the cruiser." He hesitates, nose pointed. I tug him sharply. He bounds past me. I close the door, lock it. Sirens finally wail. Backup arriving 5 minutes too late. As they swarm the house, I step away. A detective approaches, asks questions. I show him the scraps, the boot, the drawing, the words. He frowns, thinks it a prank. I don't argue. I just watch the uniformed men sweep the fields with flashlights. My recorder's off at 2:27 a.m. I lean against the cruiser, candles of light dancing on my jacket. That house should have been empty by midnight. Kids belong in beds, not hiding in cornstalks. But they went missing somewhere between the thumping walls and the crawlspace shadows. That drawing haunts me. Childish lines showing us on the outside, staring in. And their message, they come when the light goes. They vanished when the porch bulb flickered. I drive away into the mist, K9 panting beside me. Tomorrow, reports will say, false alarm, no one home. But I know the truth, someone's out there waiting, and laughter of children once safe now echoes in my head. I merge onto the highway. Foghorn from the bridge up ahead announces water under the road. I think of my own kids sleeping miles away. I grit my teeth. My shift isn't over, but I can't face another call. In the rear view, I see the farmhouse's porch light die. Darkness swallows it whole. And I realize, when you answer the unspeakable, the night answers back. One empty field, one child's drawing, one ruined home at a time. My final thought before the next call: who watches the watchers when the light goes out? And who listens when only whispers remain? I turn off Briarwood behind me, disappear into the black. I pull off the highway onto Jackson Street, heading toward the storage unit complex that's been the scene of low-level break-ins for weeks. It's 3:12 a.m. The neon on the big Secure Store sign buzzes like broken teeth, half the letters burnt out. Gravel crunches under my tires as I wheel down the row of steel doors, each a dull grass green, streaked with rust. A lone security camera blinks red above one unit, its lens aimed down a narrow corridor of corrugated metal. Dispatch pipes up on the radio. Unit 42. Reports of someone forcing Unit 47 open at Secure Store. Possible burglary. Owner on site says he heard metal scraping, then silence. No one on property now. Backup ETA 5 minutes. I cut the engine and press my flashlight's beam down the corridor. The long rows of doors disappear into shadow. A single street lamp at the far end hums, flickers, then dims. Night's emptiness feels close, like the buildings are holding their breath. "Rex," I say, clicking my tongue. He bounds out, leash in my hand. His paws spring soft on gravel. I creep forward, eyes scanning both sides. A faint metallic smell drifts. Oil mixed with something acrid. The breeze carries a distant train whistle from the freight yards, low and mournful. At door 47, the padlock hangs open, chain twisted. Scrape marks on the door's bottom edge. A metal pry bar or crowbar. I raise my radio. I'm at 47, possible forced entry. No sign of a person. Rex noses the scrape. I kneel to inspect. Deep gouges in the paint where steel scraped against metal. Inside, darkness. I shine in, stacked cardboard boxes, plastic bins, and a single shelving unit with bike tires leaning against it. On the floor, fresh footprints and dust. Men's size 10, partial heel and toe prints. They trail deeper into the unit, then disappear under a tarp draped over something bulky. I click off my holster light, grip my flashlight like a baton. Rex growls low. I step forward, lean on the tarp, heavy. Something shifts beneath. I yank the blanket back. Not a person. Something wrapped in canvas like a large crate. I shine my light around, no windows, no other footprint trail. The crate's lugs appear hammered shut. No labels. It shouldn't be here. I radio, dispatch, I've got an unregistered crate inside 47. No owner information, no manifest. Crackle, no response. I pause, the hairs on my neck prickle. Behind me, a door further down the row squeaks, metal on metal. I spin, no one visible. The corridor looks empty, but the echo lingers, like someone stepping back into shadow. Rex whines. I tell myself it's the shifting breeze, or the building settling. I step back into the corridor, shutting 47's door quietly. The overhead lamp at the far end sputters, then goes out. I'm in full darkness except for my beam. I edge forward, each step echoing twice, a primary and then a faint ghost echo. My heart thumps. I reach the next intersection of units and see door 52 partially ajar. I didn't check that one. I move cautiously, hand on holster. Flashlight sweeps inside. Empty bins, a broken coffee mug on the floor, dried stains that look like coffee, but the smell is gone. More footprints and dust on the concrete floor, leading from the far corner. Nothing else. Then I see the message scrawled on the far wall in what looks like shoe polish. We are watching. I kneel, trace the shiny black letters, wide loops, jagged slashes. A chill sinks into my chest. I swallow. I radio again. Dispatch. Graffiti inside Unit 52. We are watching. I need forensics. Silence. Up ahead, a motion sensor light flashes on for a second, then dies. The brief glow catches a figure crouched at the base of Unit 50, a man's silhouette, too still to be real. He ducks behind the door as the light goes out. I frown. I swing the beam there, empty corridor. Show yourself, I call. My voice bounces off metal doors, coming back muted. No answer. Rex's nails click behind me. I whisper, "Come on, buddy." I move forward. My flashlight flickers, strong for a half second, then dims. I tap it on the grip. Battery's shot. I switch to hollow sight. A single red dot on the door of Unit 50. I approach, heart in my throat. The door handle's warm, like someone just touched it. I grasp it, twist. It swings open silently. Nothing but total darkness inside. I shine my red dot farther in. Shelves, empty bins, dust motes dancing. Then something at the back. A black duffel bag. I step toward it. It shifts, as if breathing. My breath catches. I raise my voice. "Turn on the light or I'll blast this open." No response. I plant one foot on the bag and stop. It rolls, revealing a pair of gloved hands folded across the top. I reach down slowly, heart jackhammering. I pull the bag's zipper, cuts through thick nylon. Next, a flash of pale skin, the face of a man? No, eyes sewn shut with twine, cheeks slack. I recoil, stomach heave. Rex barks and leaps back. I snap my light left and right, beyond the bag, nothing else. My throat closes. I radio, medic needed at secure store. Unconscious male found in Unit 50, possible foul play. But my words hollow in my ear. I drop the bag's handle. I back out, door slamming. Outside, my cruiser's headlights slice down the row. Someone turned them on, but I didn't. Horn is silent. I run to the driver's door and flip the lights off, except the headlights stay on. My radio crackles with static, words I can't make out, like whispers and laughter. I shake my head, try the radio again. "Dispatch, Do you copy? Silence, then distant thunder rolls through the complex. The sky splits with lightning. For a second, metal doors glow blue and electric, and I swear I see dozens of shapes peering out from darkened units. Rain spatters hard. The storm arrives like a trap. I slam the cruiser door shut, locked. I reach for my rain jacket but hesitate. Water pounds on the steel roof of the car. I sit, heart racing. Rex leaps up beside me, paws digging into the seat. He nuzzles my arm. I force a calm tone, scratch behind his ears. We're okay, boy. Neither of us believes it. Headlights flicker in my rear view. Backup? No. Units never arrive this fast. My cell's dead. I hear tapping on the roof. Slow, deliberate, not heavy enough to be hail, like knuckles rapping against metal. I freeze. Tap, 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 closer, toward the driver's door. I grip the wheel, knuckles white, and look in the mirror. No one there. The rain blurs everything beyond a few feet. The dead city of storage units stretches on, rows and rows of secrets. The radio crackles, the word help faintly whispering, then dying static. I take my badge out, press it against the window. Not that it matters. I think of the man in that bag, eyes sewn shut, searching for someone to see him. I think of the crate in 47, unlabeled and breathing dust. I think of the message on the wall, "We are watching." The tapping stops. The rain and thunder drown out everything else. My recorder's off, but I hit the button anyway. Silent confession. I lean back, eyes closed. Dawn is far away. 6 calls left on my log before relief. I don't drive away. Instead, I sit in the storm, knees drawn up, Rex trembling beside me. I whisper into the mic, "They're here. They never left. They never left any of it." And through the rain, the final thought. When the night watches you back, who remains awake to witness? My recorder clicks off at 3:27 a.m., leaving only the sound of rain on metal and a dog's soft whine. Proof that sometimes the watcher gets watched. It's 4:05 a.m. My cruiser's headlights cut through the low mist as I roll onto Maple Ridge Road, a back road that threads between cow pastures and abandoned farmhouse foundations. The moon's hidden behind clouds, and the only Rex shifts in the passenger seat, muscles coiled, ears forward. He knows this stretch. Late calls here always bring that unsettled tension, like someone's watching from the cornrows beyond the fence. Dispatch crackles in my earpiece. Unit 42, we have a 1056 intoxicated pedestrian, flagged by a motorist at mile marker 12. Can you check it out? I flick on the overheads and pull onto the gravel shoulder. The fence here is old, split rail wood, lichen covered, sagging. Beyond, fields slosh with last night's rain. I kill my lights, leaving only the tail lamps glowing red in the gloom. I step out, flashlight in hand, harness clipped but clipped loosely. Too many times you need both hands. "Hey, sheriff's office," I call, voice low and even. My words bounce back off the mist. No footfalls respond. I scan the fence line. Moonlight flashes through gaps in the clouds, illuminating the rows of cornstalks beyond. No silhouette. I stick to the shoulder, inching toward the marker. Gravel stabs at my boots. At the mile marker, a single shoe lies abandoned. Mud-caked, size 10, adult, no pair, no sign of blood or scuff marks. Just the shoe, sole up, like someone dropped it intentionally. I squat, shine my light inside. Nothing. I slide the flashlight over the ground, no footprints beyond my own. Odd. I stand and call, "If you need help, wave at me." Static answers. I step forward into the grass. Gravel gives way to soggy earth. Each step sinks an inch. At about 20 feet, Rex lunges toward a gap in the fence. I follow, treading carefully. The fence rail is broken, splintered, fresh. Beyond it, the field opens. Corn stalks tower. The muddy soil between rows is churned, as if a tractor plowed erratically, but no tractor has been here. I step into the first row. Stalks brush my sleeves. The air smells of earth and decay. A heavy quiet presses in. I hear my own breathing. I hold still. Then, soft crunching, like someone else stepping in mud. My light swings, cuts through stalks. No one, just swaying corn stalks. Rex whines. I radio in. Dispatch, I've got no pedestrian, but odd evidence. Shoe, broken fence, churned soil, no footprints. Request backup. No reply. The radio hisses. I flick my phone's flashlight, signal weak. Clouds shift. A sliver of moon peeks through. I glimpse something ahead. A narrow strip of bare earth, like a path. I follow it. The rows part, revealing a small clearing, no more than 20 feet across. In its center lies a rusted scarecrow, clothes hanging in tatters. It's positioned facing the fence, arms outstretched, and around its base 17 small stones arranged in a circle. I crouch to count, 17. Beneath one stone, a scrap of lined paper. I peel it back, a child's scribble, letters shaky and large. They watch from within. My chest tightens. 17 stones, 17 calls, 17 nights. I stand, heart pounding. The smell here is thick, like wet straw and something coppery. I touch the scarecrow's coat, damp. I glance at Rex. He noses at a stone. I grab it, rotate it. Nothing underneath. I shove it back, step away. Lightning flashes overhead. The clearing floods with pale light for a moment. I see footprints, hundreds, stamped into the mud, looping around the scarecrow. Adult and child prints, hand-in-hand pattern. They converge at one point, where the fence rail lies. Then they vanish. No exit path. It's as if the people evaporated. Lightning cracks again. The corn sways violently, though no wind hits the clearing. I hear rustling behind me, something moving fast between rows. I shine my light toward the noise, just shadows twitching. My breath fogs in the beam. I call out louder, "San Diego Sheriff, step into the clearing." Silence, then a raspy whisper, "They're here." I spin. No one. The air grows unnaturally still. My radio dies, a static buzz in my ear, and the beam from my flashlight flickers and dies, leaving me in near darkness with only the moon's dim sliver to guide me. I reach for my holster light. Click. Red glow. I sweep across the clearing again. The scarecrow's gone. Stones scattered. Footprints lead toward the fence, straight through the broken rail, then vanish on the road's edge. On the ground lies a small denim jacket, child size, wet. I pick it up by the collar. It's soaked and smells of cornfield rot. Somewhere far down the road, tires skid. Headlights blaze. My cruiser arrives, a silhouette stepping out, but not an officer I recognize. They don't wave a badge, just approach silently. My pulse races. I keep my light trained on them, see only pale skin, glassy eyes. They stop 10 feet from me. Rain drips off their clothes, dark, soaked fabric. They tilt their head as if studying me. I grip my holster, voice brittle. "Who are you?" They make no sound, just lean forward, gaze locked on mine. And then, in a voice like wind through dead stalks, "You watched us." My blood runs cold. I raise the holster light higher. They step back, vanish into a row of corn. With a rustle. Headlights flood the clearing. Officer Vega's cruiser. Backup arrives. I spin around. Emptiness. "Everything okay?" my partner asks, flashlight patching light. I swallow hard, drop the denim jacket. It unfurls, revealing 17 names scrawled inside the pocket, each crossed out. I catch one name at the bottom, Vega, scribbled last. I shake my head, step away. The clearing is empty but for the stones and that shattered scarecrow rail. I slide into my cruiser, slamming the door. Rex leaps in, panting, eyes huge. I radio dispatch. Code 4, all clear. No sign of the pedestrian. Vehicles in the ditch, false alarm. I force a steady tone, but the denim jacket, 17 crossed-out names, and one that matches mine burn in my mind. I think of the distant farmhouse where the children vanished, the eyes sewn shut, the crate that breathed. The night stretches on for 2 more calls. Trash lighter malfunction at the junkyard and a barking dog in a churchyard. I drive away, headlights receding. Behind me, cornfields swallow the clearing. The stones, the broken scarecrow. My final thought before the dawn shift. When you tally the stones and see your own name crossed out, who's left to bear witness? I flick off the recorder at 4:27 a.m. The mist rolls back over Maple Ridge Road, and I know I'll carry those 17 stones and that fleeting figure into daylight, never certain which call was real and which was the night's final confession. I roll off the county road onto Pine Hollow Drive at 4:45 a.m. A worn asphalt lane that snakes between rows of abandoned mobile homes. Most lots are empty or have called trailers. Only one has its porch light on, a pale yellow glow flickering through lace curtains. Dispatch hits my radio. Unit 42. Suspicious person call at 310 Pine Hollow. Resident reports someone standing in the yard, staring at her windows for 20 minutes. No description beyond tall, slim figure. I kill the cruiser's engine and step into the chill. Fog hugs the ground in low swirls. Rex pads out beside me, the beam from my hollow sight slicing through the haze. My boots scuff gravel, echoing against the mobile homes like distant footsteps. I follow the curve of the road until I can see the trailer. Vinyl siding sun-bleached, a sagging awning, a single rocking chair on the porch. No vehicle in the driveway. I call out softly, "Sheriff's office, you okay?" Silence. I shuffle forward, heart tuning to the night's static. Under the porch overhang, a thin man stands, no features visible, only outline. His arms are folded, head tilted as if listening. I flick on my flashlight's red filter so I don't blind him. Light pools over chipped steps. "Heather?" I shout. Name from the dispatch. "Heather Myers? Resident?" No answer. The figure shifts. I tighten my grip on the holster. Emily's over that way, garage lights on. I nod toward a gap between trailers. Camera perch they said she installed last summer. If she's inside, she's probably monitoring that feed. Rex stops at the bottom step, hackles raised. I take the first step. Wood groans. I count each board underfoot. The silhouette turns slowly, tilting that head. The brim of a hat catches my light. Wide-brimmed canvas, dripping with dew. No face, only darkness. "Sir, step into the light," I say, palm raised. My radio crackles, static, then a whisper. "Get out!" I whip around, beam searching the yard, empty except for me and Rex. The voice isn't close, it feels like it's everywhere. A pulse quickens in my temple. I face the figure again. It's gone, just empty air atop the steps. Porch boards are warped. I can't see prints. I shine the light around. Doors closed. Curtain twitches. I tap on the window glass. Thin sound. Inside, nothing but silhouettes of furniture. Couch, TV stand, a painting on the wall. I radio, "Dispatch, suspect at 310. Pine Hollow gone. On the steps 1 second, gone the next. Need supervisor." No reply, only that humming static tone. I pull my baton, click it open. Should I bust the door or wait? I step to the handle. Warm. The lock's disengaged. I slip inside. The trailer's interior light is off. Carpet gray with years of dirt. I sweep the holocyte across threadbare walls. On the coffee table, a candle stub sits in a melted pool of wax. Long, burned down, wick blackened. No sign of a lived-in space beyond dust. I call, "Heather, you in here?" Silence. I press deeper into the living room. A child's doll lies face down on the floor, one eye missing, hair matted. I crouch, pick it up. In its hand, a note scribbled on notebook paper. "They watch from your chair." My blood turns cold. I spin toward the sofa, empty, but the cushions are indented like someone just rose. I check the cushion folds, no one. A floorboard creaks behind me. I freeze. Rex whines. I pivot, nothing. Then I sniff. Someone's been smoking in here. Stale tobacco stink tinted with cedar from the porch. But the windows are closed. Cold night. Air seeps through gaps around the door. I move to the hallway, 2 bedrooms flanking a bathroom. The bathroom door is closed. I open it, sink full of cloudy water, the mirror smudged. On the edge of the bathtub, neatly arranged, 2 pairs of shoes, adult and child, lined up, toes pointed toward the faucet. The child's pair matches that denim jacket I found out in the field. My heart thuds. I step back. In the hallway, the first bedroom door is open. I ease in, twin bed with floral sheets twisted into a knot. Dresser drawers pulled halfway out, contents scattered. A photograph on the nightstand shows a woman and small boy smiling. Sunlight bright on their faces, scrawled on the back, "Never alone." I flip the photo, thin smear of red across the woman's cheek. It's too dark to say if it's paint or blood. I leave it on the dresser and step toward the second bedroom. The door's ajar. I push it open. Mattress on the floor, bare except for a carved wooden box at the foot. I shine my light on it. It's old, lacquered, the carving of a child's hand pressed into the lid. I edge closer, half expecting it to snap open. I lift the lid. Inside, a small stack of index cards, each with a name. I lift the top card. Officer Vega. My name, printed in perfect type, underlined twice. My breath hitches. I hear soft tapping behind me. Wood on wood. I whirl around. Nothing. The lens of my holocyte catches movement in the hallway. Something reflecting red where my light doesn't shine. I step back into the corridor. The trail of index cards leads out the door, onto the porch, across the yard, into the fog. I follow them, barefoot now. Don't want to scare them off, though my boots and gear rattle on the porch. I step down into grass stiff from dew. The cards disappear at the fence line. I see a silent form perched atop the fence. Thin legs dangling, head hidden under a hood. I raise my voice, "Come down." He doesn't move. I switch to my bright LED, glare on a pale face, gaunt, sunken eyes staring. It's a child, around 10, hoodie-soaked, eyes too old for his face, cards scattered at his feet, my name and others, detectives, night dispatchers, K-9 handlers, all underlined twice. He tilts his head, voice hollow. They kept me safe. I take a step forward. He slides off the fence, landing silently, only the whisper of his clothes. I grip my baton. He smiles, no warmth, then disappears into the fog behind the trailer row. I swing the baton over my shoulder. Sirens far off announce backup finally arriving. I call out, "Hold position at the trailer. I may have found our subject." No response. Only the boys' parting words echoing. They watch from within. I climb back onto the porch, boots damp grass. Inside, the doll and photograph remain unchanged. The candle stub melted lower. The painted words on the doll's dress spell one final message: "You're next." I drive off as the headlights sweep past. The boy's gaunt gaze burned into my mind. Dawn is 45 minutes away. 2 calls left on my log. An open church door, and a report of radios cutting out at the tower. Beyond that, relief. I don't know what within he meant, nor who watches, nor how a child knows my name. I just know the shadows in that trailer weren't empty, and the silence between calls carries a warning sharper than any scream. I flick off my recorder at 5:07 a.m., but the last echo remains. You're next. It's 5:22 a.m. when I roll onto the lot of St. Barnabas Church, my last call of the night. Dawn's just a bruise on the horizon, pale indigo bleeding into the sky. Dispatch tagged it as a welfare check. Custodial keys found in the lock, door wide open, organ playing softly inside though no power's on. Claims the caretaker swears he locked up hours ago. Rex is quiet in the back seat, spent but alert. I kill the engine and step out. The air's cold enough to burn lungs. The church facade is old brick, stained by years of rain. The front doors yaw wide, hinges rusted but working. Inside it's dark, except for a single beam of pre-dawn light through the stained glass window behind the altar, painting the pews in muted reds and greens. The organ's bass note hums low, a single chord held, warping and bending like metal under heat. I draw my hollow sight, creeping up the center aisle. The pews are empty, dust motes drifting in the colored light. A thick layer of pollen covers the floor. I move slow, boots thudding. The air smells of incense and damp stone. The organ sustains its one note, the only sound in the cavernous room. At the altar, a Bible lies open on its stand, pages yellowed. Its ribbon marker hangs past the page, no relief from the organ's drone. I flip it closed, and the hum cuts instantly, like severed wires. Silence crushes me. I radio in. Unit 42. Organs off, no power issues reported. Securing building. No response. I adjust my mic, static. I sweep my light left, right, past pews. Nothing. Then I see them. Tiny footprints in the pollen, leading from the back door all the way up to the altar, then circling around it, then back again, over and over in tight loops. Adult prints interspersed with child-sized tracks. They end on the altar steps, right where I close the Bible. I crouch and trace one print. Wet. Whoever made them was barefoot. I look up. Fresh droplets of water stain the stone steps, glinting like tears. A puddle wells at the base, but rain never fell inside. I stand and move toward the pulpit. Carved into the wood, scrawled in something dark, ink, blood, I can't be sure, are words. He hears our songs. The letters drip downward, fresh. My throat seizes. I shine my flashlight on the hymn book rack. Every book flipped open to hymn 17, Abide with Me. Pages are damp, corners curled. I flick through. Each has a pressed flower nestled at the spine. I lift one. A white daisy, petals blackened at the edges. I back away, heart racing. I grip my mic. Dispatch. Possible vandalism. And something more. Nothing but static. I turn to leave the sanctuary, but the organ starts again, softly, the same single chord, filling the nave. My holosight beam dances across the pews. I see figures, shadows, at the very back, where the entrance doors sit. Dozens of them, shapes of men, women, children, all standing motionless. My breath hitches. They remain silent as the organ drones. I step backward. Rex leaps out of the cruiser, pads inside and barks, echoing like thunder. The figures don't move. The closer I get, the more I see. They're not shadows on stone, but silhouettes carved into dust itself. Footprints pressed into the pollen on the pews. They surround me in a ring. Hard to tell where floor ends and figure begins. The organ's chord stretches, then wavers into silence again. I lean down and scoop a handful of pollen, dust and what feels like ash. into my palm. I rub it between my fingers. It's warm. Too warm. I look to my left. One silhouette is missing, then another to the right. And then there's empty space on either side, closing in like the walls of a tomb. I grab my hollow sight, flick it off, can't risk blinding any real eyes that might be watching. I back out to the entrance, mind racing. I'd sworn off superstition years ago, but tonight shattered that resolve. These aren't ghosts of the dead, they're something else. Echoes of those who vanished, who watched and waited in the dark. Back on the porch, Rex stands by the crucifix etched into the door. He noses at it, whine low. I rub his head, sweat beading despite the chill. I look up at the rising sun, a strip of pale light at the roofline, knowing it won't save me from what I've seen. I radio dispatch one last time. Unit 42 to dispatch. I'm clear, church secured, but I need an all-points bulletin. People missing, names unaccounted for, and I can't leave until I know the congregation's safe. The radio finally crackles. Copy, Unit 42. Command wants you back at the station ASAP, morning briefing. Briefing, reports, paperwork. They'll chalk up this to pranksters, vagrants, copper thieves messing with the organ. But I'll carry tonight's record. 7 parts, 7 calls, each with its odd code, its half-heard whisper, its phantom footprints. I head back to my cruiser, buckle in. Rex jumps up beside me. I pull the door shut. In the overhead mirror, I see the church doors closed, the early light rising. I think I see movement behind the stained glass. Someone standing, framed by colored light. I stare. It's gone. Only the cross on the door remains. I rest my hand on the recorder one last time. My voice is raw. They never sang alone, and neither will I. I click it off. The engine roars. We pull away, tires crunching gravel. Dawn breaks, but the horizon's still dark where the 7 calls echo. One last line lingers in the silence. When you leave the secrets behind, the silence follows you home. I remember the call coming in just after midnight. A routine noise complaint on Elm Street. A stretch of tired 2-story houses pressed up against the edge of town. The dispatcher read it off in that deadpan way, like he'd done it 1,000 times before. Resident reports loud thumping and yelling at 12:05 a.m., address 1423, possible disturbance. I glanced at the clock on my dash. 12:19 a.m. I'd been parked 50 yards down the road, catching my breath after a long shift. I flicked on the overhead lights, eased the cruiser into gear, and rolled up the narrow asphalt lane. Street lamps glowed weakly, their halos swallowed by low mist drifting in from the river. The radio buzzed in my ear, the dispatcher repeating the call details. My partner was out on a different run, so it was just me, my own company, and the night pressing in. Elm Street was deserted. The houses sat in shadows. Leaves rustled in the slight breeze, and somewhere a dog bayed once, half-heartedly, then went silent. I found 1423, a faded, clapboard house with a sagging porch, peeling paint, and a single window on the second, floor glowing yellow. That window wasn't part of the original design. Someone had replaced a pane, and the outline of the new glass stuck out like a patch on an old coat. I killed the engine and stepped out, boots crunching on loose gravel. I approached the front door, hand hovering over my flashlight. The porch light was off. The glow from the upstairs window cast a weak triangle of light across the yard. I called out, "Police!" Anyone inside make themselves known. My voice sounded too loud, echoing off damp siding. I got no answer, just the buzz of streetlights and the hush of the night. I tapped the door frame, cold, locked. No thumping now, no raised voices. Just a low hum of static from the radio and that unsettling quiet. I radioed in. Unit 7 checking noise complaint at 1423 Elm. No answer at the door. The dispatcher's voice cut through. Copy. 1423 Elm, do you want backup? I hesitated. It was a quiet neighborhood. Noise complaints weren't usually dangerous. Still, something about that patched window made my skin crawl. I glanced up. Shadows moved across the glass. Something pacing inside. I tried to catch a glimpse, a shoulder, a head, a silhouette, but it all looked distorted, as if refracted through dirty water. Negative for now, I said. I've got this. I killed the radio, wanting to keep the world out. Routine call, I told myself. Just check the house, find rowdy teenagers, break it up, head home. I drew my flashlight and tugged at the storm door. It rattled open, rusty hinges complaining. I stepped inside, light cutting through motes of dust. The front hallway was narrow, smelling of damp wood and old carpet. I shone the beam up the stairs, worn steps covered in threadbare runner, leading to the second floor. The hum of appliances from the kitchen somewhere to my left, maybe an old refrigerator or a clock radio left on. I called again, quieter this time. Police? Anybody up here? No reply. I wound my way past coat hooks and framed photos on the wall. Children's faces smiling in bright afternoon sun, now faded. On a small table sat a rotary phone with the cord cut off at the receiver, coiled like a snake with no head. I paused, hand on the banister, considering. I climbed the stairs, each board creaking under my weight. My flashlight tracked the wall to the landing, a narrow L-shaped corridor with doors on either side and the patched window at the far end. The hallway light was off. My light shone as far as it could, catching dust swirling in the beam, clinging to the air like a pale fog. I moved toward the patched window. It wasn't locked. I nudged it with my knee. The pane rattled slightly, though there was no breeze. I rested my hand on the sill. Below, I could see the yard, the faint glow of the street lamp, my cruiser parked half a block away. Then I heard it. A thump. Upstairs to my right, back in the dark. Like heavy footsteps landing on floorboards. My heart sped up. Control yelling at me that nothing in this detached bedroom could hurt me. Still, I slipped off my holster and drew my service weapon, though I didn't cock it. Just held it in my right hand, flashlight in my left. I edged toward the door at the end of the hall, the boarded window now at my back. The thumps were closer, slow, measured, deliberate. The knob on the door rattled once, then stilled. I put my hand on the cold brass knob and turned. The door swung open easily, no resistance. Inside was pitch black. My light swept the room. Old furniture draped in white sheets, a dresser, a cracked mirror reflecting the beam back at me. The air smelled stale, like a basement you'd sealed years ago. No furniture disturbed, no sign of anyone. But footsteps sounded again, directly behind me at the entrance. I spun, gun raised. Beam cut through the darkness. Nothing. Empty hallway, the landing, stretching toward the stairs. The radio buzzed in my jacket pocket. I cursed and fumbled it out. That's when I saw it. On the floor behind me, a single slipper, child-sized, heel bent inward as if someone kicked it off in a hurry. My blood ran cold. I radioed in. Dispatch, Unit 7. Floor slipper at 1423 Elm, second floor. Any reports of children in the home? Silence. Then the dispatcher. Negative. No occupants on record besides a single renter, no dependents. I swallowed, voice tight. Copy. I'm seeing a child's slipper and no sign of anyone. Backup requested, possible missing juvenile. I waited, gun still out, scanning. footsteps above, soft, dragging, coming down the stairs. I called out, "Police, come out with your hands up." The footsteps stopped. My flashlight beam swung to the top of the stairs. Darkness there, then a shape gliding down, face hidden. And before I could shout, the hallway light flickered on, bathing me in stark brightness. The thumps ceased. The door behind me banged shut. I dropped the radio, fired a warning shot into the wall, too loud, too bright. Silence fell instantly. The hallway light stayed on. The slipper lay in the beam, untouched. No shape at the top of the stairs. No heartbeat except mine pounding in my ears. I backed out of the room and slammed the door, locked. I radioed again. "Dispatch, units en route." No response. I stood alone at the top of that staircase, flashlight wavering. I could feel eyes on me, though I saw no one. The house held its breath. I don't know how long I stood there before finally turning, descending step by step, keeping the light on the floor in front of me. Each creak was deafening. Outside, the wind picked up, rattling the patched window. When I reached the bottom, I saw fresh footprints in the dust. Bare footprints leading toward the front door, then vanishing into the night. I followed them, adrenaline buzzing, until I pushed the door open and spilled onto the porch. The cruiser was gone. No sign of headlights or engine noise. Only the mist drifting low over elm trees, the hum of a lone cicada. I checked my pockets, radio, badge, flashlight. My hand shook. I wrote my report later. Noise complaint, no one found, no evidence of a disturbance. Lost slipper noted, no children on record. Dispatch said nothing unusual. But I know I heard those footsteps. I know I saw the slipper. And sometimes when I close my eyes, I still feel that space behind me where someone watched from the dark, waiting to be seen. I climbed back into my partner's cruiser. He'd come by on his own, finding his car dead on the street. He didn't ask questions. I didn't offer answers. We drove on in silence, street lamps blurring past. That slipper sits in evidence now, a lonely artifact from the graveyard hours. Another secret I carry, and I still wonder who or what wore it. I couldn't shake the slipper, no matter how many times I turned it over in my hand. It felt too small, too quiet, like a question waiting to be asked. I filed it away in evidence. The leather cracked and dusty, and I thought that might be the end of it. But the next shift landed me back in the same stretch of forgotten roads. Only this time, a welfare check at a rundown gas station off Route 113. It was 1:42 a.m. when dispatch flagged the call. A clerk hadn't shown up for his shift at Kendrick's Fuel and Mart. He was supposed to clock in at midnight. Owner called in worried, nothing fancy, just check on him and make sure he's okay. I pulled onto the cracked asphalt lot. The neon open sign overhead had gone dark. A single pump light flickered. I killed the engine and stepped out. The air was cool, damp, with a faint smell of gasoline and old coffee lingering in the breeze. I walked up to the locked sliding door, pressed the buzzer. Nothing. I radioed Unit 7 at Kendrick's Fuel and Mart for welfare check. No answer at door. The lot was empty. No cars, no sign of movement inside. I tapped on the glass, hearing my own hollow knock echo back. Through the overhead light's glow, I saw shelves half-stocked with snacks, a coffee station cold and untouched, and the till sitting idle. An overturned stool lay beside the counter, legs splayed like a toppled insect. I keyed the door code, owner provided it, and pushed in. The chime rang hollow. Inside was silent, too silent. I swept the flashlight across the floor, no footprints in the thin layer of dust. I called out, "Hello? Kendrick, you here?" No answer but the hum of refrigeration units. I moved further into the shop, checking aisles. Rows of candy bars, chips, canned soup. An empty space on the floor caught my eye. Stains on the tile that glistened under my beam, dark and slick. I knelt, careful not to disturb it. I couldn't tell if it was oil, coffee, or blood. My stomach clenched. I radioed, dispatch, possible fluid stain at back aisle. Need supervisor. Before they could respond, I heard a muffled thump behind me. Metal scraping across tile. I spun, light cutting to the back door. A heavy-duty door leading to the storage shed. A faint glow seeped through its crack. I approached, hand on holster. The crack widened, a shaft of yellow light slanting onto the floor. I opened it. The storage area was small, stacked with pallets of paper towels and cases of soda. In the corner, a window with broken glass patched by cardboard. Behind it, I saw a shadow shift. I called out, "Hey Kendrick, this is the police. You all right in there?" Silence, then a low moan, so soft I thought I imagined it. I stepped closer. My boot nudged a can that rolled with a hollow ping. The shadow moved again. I cleared my throat and pushed past the cartons. The floor was littered with empty boxes and a few scattered cans. No clerk, no sign of struggle except that stain. Then the door slammed shut behind me. I whirled, hand on the door handle, locked. My flashlight beam darted back to the storage entrance. The crack was sealed with fresh strips of duct tape. I took out my radio. "Dispatch, my radio seems jammed. Can you hear me?" Nothing but static. My heart sank. I reached to turn on my flashlight's strobe setting. Nothing. Battery dead. I cursed under my breath. I was shut in, alone, with no backup in sight. The only light came from the crack beneath the door and the dull glow seeping through the patched window. I moved toward the window, knelt, peered through the grime. Outside, the lot was empty. No cars, no footprints, only dark. That same uneasy feeling swelled, like I'd missed something, some detail that mattered. I stood, shook the door with my shoulder. Nothing but a hollow clang. I retraced my steps to that dark stain by the aisles. My flashlight backlight caught movement. A stack of newspapers leaning against the far wall. Today's edition, dated 3 days ago. I pulled one free. The headline read, "Local Teen Missing." I frowned. Nothing in the dispatch history mentioned a missing juvenile here. I tucked the paper under my arm. Then I heard breathing. Soft, ragged, off to my left. I turned, light slicing the aisle. Empty shelves, except for a toppled display of jerky. The breathing grew louder, like someone trying not to be heard. I whispered, "Come out with your hands up." No reply, but then the breathing moved away, down the aisle toward the front of the store. My boots slapped tile as I rushed forward. The front door loomed, keypad blinking. Beyond that, black night. I reached for the keypad, felt for the override key, but it wasn't on the ring. I pounded. "Open the damn door!" A voice crackled in my mind. Too soft to be real. "He's here." It faded with the hum of the refrigerator. I froze. The bloodstain was gone. Clean tile reflecting my beam like a mirror. I spun, searching. The stool from the counter was back upright. The till drawer open, contents scattered. I stepped closer. Bills and coins spilled across the floor, but no sign of Kendrick or the missing teen. Then the overhead lights flickered and came on, buzzing loud. My relief was immediate until I realized they'd illuminated something else. Footprints. Bare footprints, leading from the storage door to the front entrance. They stopped at the glass. I traced them back. They began at the stained spot 3 seconds earlier. Only these prints were bigger than the slipper from Elm Street, adult-sized, toes splayed. I radioed again, nothing. I grabbed a fallen bat from the display, gripped it tight. I edged toward the entrance. The keypad blinked green, locked, but it drew power. I keyed in the override code, beep, green light. None of it responded. I rapped the bat against the glass. A face appeared, smudged by condensation. A man's face, gaunt, eyes sunken. He mouthed something I couldn't hear. I swung the bat against the door. Crack, the glass spider webbed. He vanished. My heart slammed. I stepped back. The store lights cut out again. Darkness. The only light came from the storage window's seam. I moved to it, hand on the roof of my holster. I flicked on the laser sight. Crimson dot sliced through the grime. I aimed it at the window and fired once into the glass. The pane shattered inward, spewing shards like stars. I crouched, cleared the jagged frame, climbed through. Outside, the night was as empty as before. No body, no footprints, just the fizz of store lights dying behind me. I dropped to the asphalt, shards crunching under my boots. My chest heaved in the cold air. My radio crackled. "Unit 7, you there?" Relief flooded me. I answered, "Yeah, got a lot going on here. Didn't see the clerk. Entry forced, footprints in store. I need backup." "Copy, backup en route." I stood, took in the lot. Pump light flickering, the open sign dark, the cool mist drifting over cracked asphalt. I waited, bat at the ready. I thought I saw someone slip into the cornfield beyond the edge of the lot. Only for a second. Then nothing. Backup arrived 30 minutes later, lights flashing, engines idling. They found the door smashed, the glass shards, the newspaper clutched in my hand. Victims' parents were notified about the missing teen edition. They had no idea any papers still sat in that store. No clerk, no prints outside. Just that big adult footprints across the tile. I filed the report. Forced entry, no suspect, missing clerk and teen, footprints inside, no outside prints. Supervisor told me to circle back in the morning for security footage, which I did. No footage. Cameras hadn't recorded after midnight, inexplicably dark. Now I have that newspaper, folded tight on my desk. Headline faded, but I see it whenever I catch the corner of my eye. I replay the clerk's face in the broken glass, the bare footprints, the absence of tracks outside. I can't explain how a man slipped into the store and vanished into mist beyond. When I drive past Kendrick's now, I slow, glance at the pump light, flickering against diesel stains. I think of that beat-up slipper and that lone shoe. I think whoever wore those footprints walked away into night, and I never got a name, never found a body. I drive on in silence, wondering how many stories like this lurk just out of sight, calls I take, on nights where the world feels hollow, and I'm the only one left awake. I wonder who's still inside those stores and houses, watched by eyes I can't see. And I can't stop thinking, whose face is pressed against that patchwork window now, waiting for me to knock? The next call came in at 2:18 a.m. A suspicious vehicle parked at the lot of St. Mary's Church, almost hidden under overgrown hedges. Dispatch said the complainant was a passerby on Route 52 who thought the car might be abandoned, engine off, headlights dead, but the interior light flickering on and off. I checked the clock on my dash, 2:37 a.m., nearly the darkest hour. My partner's cruiser still had the bumper dent from last week, so I volunteered for solo runs now. I put the cruiser into gear, shifted on the floorboard, and rolled down the 2-lane road toward the church. The road was narrow, bordered by fields of standing corn and the occasional farmhouse whose windows glowed faintly. I felt the familiar itch of unease. Highway patrol overnight. You learn? The world looks different when most of it is asleep. I flicked on my overhead lights, the beams cutting through mist that drifted low over the asphalt. As I neared St. Mary's, I saw the car. A dark sedan, windows opaque with condensation, parked on the cracked concrete that passed for a church parking lot. A single dome light inside blinked at irregular intervals, as if someone inside was fumbling with the switch. I killed my engine 30 yards back, stepped out, and caught the hiss of fog curling around my boots. My flashlight cut a cone of brightness through the haze, landing on the rear license plate. Faded characters half obscured by mud. I radioed in. Unit 7 on site at St. Mary's Church parking lot. Suspicious vehicle, no plates legible. I approached cautiously, holstered hand hovering near my taser. The sedan's doors were locked. I rapped on the driver's window. Nothing but the dull thunk of impact. I circled to the passenger side, same result. I knelt to peer into the foggy glass. The interior was empty, seats unblemished, floorboards clear. No footprints in the gravel outside, no tire tracks beyond one set leading onto the lot. I shone the light under the car. No oil leak, no sign of recent idling. My radio crackled. "Still there, Unit 7? I responded. "Yeah, looks abandoned. Interior lights on a timer, blinking every 3 seconds. No sign of occupant." An uneasy thought. Maybe someone had left it running, hopped out, and then something happened. I stood and raised my flashlight to the dome light switch, 2 clicks, then off. The instant the light died, I heard something. A mechanical wheeze from inside the church itself, like an ancient ventilation system kicking on. I glanced up. The church doors were closed. Its stained glass windows glowed pale, diffuse. No one should be inside at this hour. I radioed. "I'm hearing a hum from the building. Can I get door code for St. Mary's?" No reply. Dispatch was quiet for once. I tapped at the big wooden door. It creaked, but stayed shut. The hum grew louder, steady and low, like a buried motor. I tried the side door keypad, locked. I considered walking around to the back. There was supposed to be a side entrance for the caretaker. As I moved off, flashlight beam caught movement in the shrubbery. Something slithering between branched limbs, ducking under leaves. A deer, I hoped. I drew breath and called out, "Police, come out!" Nothing, just the mist swirling in my light. I rounded the corner to the back of the church, heart pounding. The hum was louder here. I realized it was coming from the ground level, not the vents. A faint glow seeped from beneath the service door, yellowish, flickering. I unholstered my flashlight and pistol. Better safe than sorry, and tried the handle, locked. I rapped the door with the butt of my flashlight, crack. The door jolted. A sliver of light spilled out. Inside was near dark, save for that weak glow from somewhere down a hallway. The smell of old incense and damp stone hit me, different from musty houses or gas stations. I called into the gloom. "Police! I'm checking on a vehicle out front, locked doors. Anyone here with business?" Silence. Then the hum paused, mid-cycle, like someone hit off. The light blinked, went out. I heard footsteps behind me, soft, dragging, on stone floor. I spun, flashlight beam cutting a path along thick wooden pews, the altar gleaming faintly with polished brass. No movement, only the echo of distant footsteps shifting away. I stepped in. The door slammed shut behind me, deadbolt engaging. I yanked on the handle, locked tight. My breath hitched. I radioed again. "Dispatch, Unit 7 inside St. Mary's, suspect locked me in, requesting immediate assistance." Nothing but static. I swallowed. The hall stretched deeper than I expected. Pews gave way to a short corridor flanked by confessional booths. The glow flickered at the far end, near a side chapel. Advanced, each step echoing like a shot. I passed the confessional on the left, door slightly ajar. Inside was a kneeler and a dusty Bible on a shelf. The page lay open. Psalm 23. I shone my flashlight on the text, comforting words to trust in the Lord, though I felt no comfort. A soft click. I looked up to see the glow burst brighter, then fade to a single candle flame on a small altar. The candlelight danced on the walls, revealing icons of saints staring down at me. My flashlight flickered as I lifted it. I felt a breeze across my neck. I spun, no windows open. The hallway stretched back to the main door. It remained shut. My phone buzzed, a text from my partner. Just closed 113, heading your way. Radio dead? I typed a reply. Locked in, need code override. But the message never sent. Footsteps again, coming from the chapel. I stepped closer, gun raised, flashlight shaking. The candle sat on a small table. Behind it, the figure of the caretaker, an old man in a dark coat, thinning hair, eyes dull. He stared at me, expression blank. "Evening, officer," he said in a low voice that sounded hoarse, far too deep for a man his size. "You shouldn't be here." I hesitated, voice tight. "You locked me in. What's going on?" He smiled, tiny, sad, and pointed at the pews. "Take a seat, it's easier to explain." I noted the door behind him now hanging open, light spilling onto cracked tile. I stepped back. "Let me out. Now." He shook his head, voice soft. "You'll leave when I say." He moved like he was half puppet, drifting between flickers of candlelight and shadow. The hum returned, deeper, mechanical, underneath the chapel floor. I radioed again, mic tap, static, then melody, a hymn playing somewhere far off, half familiar. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. The sound came from inside my cruiser. I spun, flashlight beamed through his open door to the lot, the sedan's dome light clicking on, shining bright as if someone sat inside. I looked back to the caretaker. His lips moved, but I heard no sound. He tilted his head, as if listening to that hymn. I took a breath, squared my shoulders. "I'm going after that car. You're not holding me hostage." He didn't move. The candle flickered. Then, with one soft footstep, he vanished, gone as if he'd never been there. Silence swallowed me. The candle sputtered out. The hymn cut off mid-line. I crept toward the door, half expecting a trap. I reached the handle, unlocked. I opened it onto the night. The sedan was gone. No caretaker, no cars. Just the church doors behind me, shut as if they'd never opened, and the hymn echoing somewhere in my skull. I left without backup. Report noted nothing found, but an interior light on a car blinking in the lot, doors locked, no owner. I remember squeezing the steering wheel, pressing my head against the wheel, and looking up at the dark steeple. I thought I saw a shape high in the belfry window, backlit, watching. But when I blinked, it was gone. I drove away, radio crackling back to life as streetlights reappeared. No recordings, no plates, no caretaker. Just the echo of that hymn and a question that still clings to me. Who, or what, was singing grace inside a locked church at 2:40 a.m.? I didn't sleep much after that call at St. Mary's. I kept replaying the hum, the hymn, the caretaker's smile. My supervisor warned me, stay off that location for a while, but I couldn't let it go. A few nights later, between 1:30 and 2 a.m., I was dispatched to a welfare check on a remote back road outside Millerton. A farmer's wife called to report her husband hadn't come home from checking livestock. He'd gone out just before midnight during that heavy rain, and now his pickup was gone, headlights off, and his cell phone rang straight to voicemail. I punched the coordinates into my cruiser's GPS. The rain had stopped when I arrived, but mud still caked the shoulders of the unpaved road. I parked under a swaying oak, its branches slick, dripping. Mist rose from the fields under a waning moon. I left the engine running, radio on standby, and grabbed my flashlight, raincoat, and gun. The farmer's wife had given me the description. Tall man, homemade jacket, hat with his initials, tractor keys on a lanyard. I followed the tire tracks, ruts carved deep into the mud, from the paved road across a stripped field where corn stalks lay flattened in wave patterns from last night's wind. The tracks veered toward a grove where a gravel embankment led into a ravine. I stopped at the edge. The tracks ended at the lip. No sign of the truck beyond. It must have slid down or been driven off into the ravine, but I couldn't see it in the dark. I radioed, Unit 7 to dispatch, welfare check en route, rural back road. I found tracks leading into ravine, no vehicle visible. Copy that, Unit, dispatch replied. Rescue team on the way. I clipped the straps of my flashlight to my belt and climbed down the bank, boots sinking in wet soil. The bottom was a T, angle of fallen branches, leaves, and standing water pooling in hollows. I heard the echo of dripping water and the soft rustle of disturbed underbrush. I slipped and caught myself against a tree root. I stood, flashlight raised, and scanned the scene. No truck, no footprints beyond mine, nothing but mud and shadow. I called out, "Mr. Calder, this is the county sheriff. If you can hear me, call out." My voice fed into the dark, absorbed by trees. No reply. I crept forward, following the continuation of the tracks where muddy water had washed away soil, leaving a shallow trench. The trench led farther into the woods, between two leaning trees that formed a natural arch. I passed them, feeling chills run up my spine, though the night was warm. The canopy overhead was thick. Moonlight struggled to penetrate. My beam caught something low on my left, a swatch of red fabric snagged on a bramble. I stepped closer, a torn piece of the farmer's jacket, wet and muddy. I clenched my jaw and radioed, "Dispatch, I've got a torn jacket piece. Wet, muddy, appears consistent with subject's clothing. I'm following tracks into the woods." "Roger, stay safe," came the reply. Then a click as the line went dead again, static swallowing the word. I gripped my flashlight tighter and pressed on. The underbrush thinned, and I found fresh footprints. One adult-sized boot print, then another, then nothing. My boots slid in the wet forest floor as I followed sporadic prints that sometimes disappeared, as though someone had been lifted off the ground. A breeze picked up, rustling leaves overhead. I swung my beam around, but saw nothing. The silence was heavy. No birds, no frogs, just the distant hum of highway traffic. Then, out of that hum, I heard a faint grunt, like someone straining under weight, somewhere ahead to my right. I froze, heartbeat thundering. "Mr. Calder?" I called softly. No response, just another grunt, closer this time. I moved forward, stepping over roots, flashlight illuminating glistening ferns. A low moan followed, like exhaled breath. I rounded a stand of pines and came upon a clearing cut short by a fallen oak. Beneath the branches lay the truck. Upside down, windows smashed, roof crushed. Water pooled on the windshield. I swallowed hard. I stepped closer, gun drawn, no movement inside. I circled to the driver's side. Door jammed. I tried the window. Shards of glass crunched under my fingers. I peered through. The cab was empty. No sign of the farmer. Then the moan again, from behind me in the clearing. I swung around, nothing but broken branches and muddy ground. I radioed, Unit 7 to dispatch, found the overturned truck, no sign of subject. I took a deep breath and called, "Mr. Calder, respond." The moan became a low laugh, raspy, incredulous. I spun, light sweeping the perimeter. The sound came from the edge of the clearing, where the trees clustered densely. I took a slow step toward it. Twice the laugh echoed, once from the left, once from the right. I felt the darkness press closer. I lifted my flashlight and pistol as I advanced. The ground dipped here, and I nearly stumbled over a rock. My beam caught movement in the trees, a crouched shape, brief as a shadow. I aimed, controlled my breathing. "Show yourself, please," I called, voice firm. Silence. Then something moved quickly behind me. I whirled, fired a flashbang from my handheld light, flash, and a concussive click rang, but no bang, no burst. The living air settled. I backed away, expecting a breakneck chase through mud. Instead, the clearing returned to quiet, only that low, distorted laugh lingering. My blood roiled. I checked my radio, dead. My phone, dead. No GPS. I was alone in the woods, soaked, armed, and blinded by the darkness. I forced myself to focus. I checked the ground, spray-painted orange X on a nearby trunk, faded, at least a week old. Tree marked for chopping on a logging road, not here. The symbol unnerved me. I looked up. The moon broke through clouds, and I saw a banner of rope tied between two trees, dangling like a swing. But no plank seat, just rope curling in the wind. My heart seized. I recalled a case from years ago, a farmer who rigged nooses to scare trespassers. Could it be a prank? But this felt personal. Too many signs that the injured man had been here, and someone, or something, still waited. I heard branches snap behind me. I spun, pressing my back to a tree. Flashlight beam flickered, trailed across trunks until it froze on nothing. But I felt two eyes on me, too dark to be natural. I whispered, "Come on, I've got a family to check on." Another snap, closer. In that instant, I thought I saw movement, a hunched figure stepping forward, shoulders hunched, head low. I fired twice. The flashlight's battery died with the second click. Now I was in total dark, heart hammering, ear tuned to every rustle. My hand groped for the radio, empty pocket. A low growl rolled through the clearing. I fumbled for my knife, found it, gripped it tight. In the hush, I heard whispers. So faint I wasn't certain they were real. Voices overlapping, male and female, pleading, "Help me, please." I stumbled backward, tripped over a root, and hit the ground. Dirt in my face, knife still in hand. I rolled and scrambled to my feet, directionless. My instincts told me to climb back up the bank to the road. I ran, branches clawing at my arms, vision blurred by mud-smeared glasses. I burst into the open field, gasping. The pumping blades of my cruiser's engine cut through the night air. My partner's headlights flooded the field. I fell to my knees, coat torn, knife clutched. He jumped out, shining his light on me. "Deputy, Jesus, what happened?" he shouted. I panted. "Truck, woods, footprints, someone there." He grabbed my arm. "Call it in, man." I fumbled my radio, static, then dispatch. I told them, found truck, no subject, weird markings, lost comms, need search and rescue, now. They sent teams. We waited under flashing red and blue lights dripping in mud. Canines searched the woods. Drones streamed infrared above the treetops. At dawn, they found the trailer keys and the farmer's hat beneath the overturned truck. No body, no footprints. The swing rope was gone. And under that banner of rope, scratched into the wet bark, were letters, "Thank you." I still wonder who got rescued and who got left. Whenever I drive past that back road, I slow down, eyes on the trees. And sometimes, if the wind's right, I swear I hear that raspy laugh drift across the fields. I didn't expect the call at 3:14 a.m. to be anything more than a routine welfare check. The dispatcher's voice was clipped. Unit 7, possible domestic disturbance at Rosewood Trailer Park, Site 12, neighbor reports shouting and running footsteps. No weapons mentioned, just raised voices and a door slamming. My shift was winding down. 6 hours past midnight felt like a lifetime. But I keyed the mic, copy that en route, and rolled toward the trailer park on Miller Road. Rosewood was one of those clusters of mobile homes tucked between pines. The narrow lanes paved with cracked asphalt and dotted with faded speed bumps. It sat far from town lights, so the sky overhead glowed with stars, unfiltered. I spotted Site 12 at the end of a cul-de-sac marked by a flickering porch light. The neighbor's pickup sat halfway on her lawn and halfway on the gravel shoulder. I killed my engine and stepped out. The chilled air smelled of pine needles and spilled oil. I approached the trailer, flashlight and weapon drawn, heart thumping. A battered welcome mat lay askew. I knocked on the door frame. "Police, anyone home okay?" The boards rattled slightly but held fast. I peered in a cracked window. Living room furniture upturned, cushions on the floor, and a lamp lying shattered, its shade torn. I radioed, Unit 7, possible disturbance confirmed. Interior looks ransacked, no response at door. I tried the handle, locked. I rapped again, louder. "This is the sheriff's office. Open up." Silence, save for the hum of my cruiser idling in the distance. Then the faintest sound. A soft sob, muffled, from inside. I pressed my ear to the door. Nothing but breath in my mask. I called out, "If someone's hurt, open the door. I'm here to help." No answer. I drew my flashlight across the yard, only shadows. The neighbor's truck facing me. I circled to the side door. Flashlight beam dancing across sheet metal siding. The door was ajar. I squeezed through the gap, weapon raised. Inside was darker than I expected. No working lamps, no glow from phones or TVs. My flashlight hit a kitchen overturned. Chairs toppled, dishes shattered. A puddle of something dark by the sink caught the beam, stains on linoleum. I stepped closer, nicking my boot on broken ceramic. I swore and radioed, "Possible blood in kitchen. Check for injuries." No reply. I headed down the narrow hallway toward the bedroom, where voices had echoed. The floorboards creaked beneath me. A door stood half open at the end. I edged closer. Inside, I found a small twin bed with its sheets ripped away, mattress bare. On the pillow lay something, an envelope, pristine white, face down. I picked it up, flipped it, and froze. Written in neat block letters was a child's handwriting. "I'm sorry." No other marks. My breath caught. I pocketed the note, flashlight darting around. No sign of a child, no toys, nothing but the empty bed. I moved back into the hallway. A door on the left led to the bathroom. I shoved it open. The tub was filled with water, dark and still. My reflection stared back, grim, uneasy. I leaned in, shining my light. Something glinted at the bottom. I braced myself and reached in with a gloved hand. My fingers closed around a small silver locket, its chain tangled. I clipped it open. Inside, 2 tiny photographs. One of a little girl with pigtails, one of a man kneeling beside her, smiling. My mind raced. None of this was in the records. The neighbor reported 2 adults on site, no children. I swallowed and called out, "If you're here, come to the door now. Police want to help." From behind me came a faint scuffle, soft shuffle of feet across tile. I spun, flashlight beam cutting the gloom. Nothing. I backpedaled, footsteps loud in empty hall. I gripped the locket between thumb and forefinger, picturing the girl's face. Then I heard it. A low creak, like hinges turning, from the living room. I leveled my weapon and charged down the hall. My beam illuminated a figure, slumped, half-curled, behind the couch. It rose with a moan. I caught a glimpse, thin frame, long hair matted with something dark. The figure stumbled toward me, dragging a leg. I shouted, "Stop!" But it kept coming, brittle footsteps echoing. I backed up, heart hammering, until I hit the wall. I raised my weapon, knuckles white. The figure's face came into view, sunken eyes, skin ashen, mouth twisted in a silent wail. I felt bile rise. I called into the darkness, voice shaking, "Identify yourself." It pressed closer, arms outstretched, then paused. In the beam of my light, it reached up and lifted the hair from its face. No face at all, just skin stretched tight over bone, no features, no eyes, only the hollow of dark sockets. My finger tightened on the trigger, but I hesitated, mind screaming that this wasn't real, yet couldn't deny what I saw. Behind me, a child's laugh, soft, uncanny, followed by footsteps on the porch outside. I spun, light catching the window. A small shadow flitted past, then gone. The locket in my hand burned cold. I ripped my gaze back to the figure, but it had melted into the wall like smoke. I stumbled backward, dropping the locket with a clatter. It hit the floor, the front snapped open, the photographs spilling out. I bent to gather them. My shoulders slammed against something heavy. I fell to the floor, disoriented, and heard the front door crash open behind me. My partner's voice yelled, "Sheriff! Are you okay?" The figures vanished with a whisper like falling cloth. He shone his flashlight down the hall, meeting mine. I pointed to the spot, empty. He knelt beside me, checking my pulse. I gasped, voice raw. There was someone, or something. No face, children's things. I think a girl was here. He helped me up as backup arrived, flashlight beams cutting the trailer's interior. We swept the rooms. No footprints, no blood, no overturned furniture beyond what I'd seen. The envelope sat on the bed, letters no longer legible in the dawn light. The locket lay by the sink, chain broken. The couple who owned the trailer arrived, shaking, tearful. They'd gone out to call the plumber and left their daughter with a babysitter next door. Their daughter, 8 years old, never lived here. She'd been born after they bought this home. The photographs on the locket from her foster sister who'd passed away 2 years before. The neighbor insisted he heard only the couple arguing, no other voices. I stood in the hall, raincoat wet and heavy, watching as they cried and hugged each other. I kept thinking of the girl in the photograph, someone else's child, whose apology lay in disappearing handwriting. My report noted no intruders, no forced entry, no evidence of a break-in. Just the overturned lamp, the dark stain in the kitchen still indistinguishable, and a mismatched locket on the sink. I left Rosewood in silence, passing pines and empty lots. My cruiser cut through the trailer park's pale lights and rolled onto the deserted highway. My partner rode with me, radio humming back to life with a routine traffic break about 15 miles ahead. But I stayed quiet, staring at the envelope in my pocket. The words, "I'm sorry," still sharp as glass. Late that afternoon, I found out the foster sister's name was Emily Turner. She died in a car wreck on Miller Road, exactly where I'd searched for Mr. Calder, and her body was never recovered. No seatbelt, no identification, just a twisted car and a missing girl. There were no records linking her to that trailer, no connection to her foster family after her death. Yet, here was her face in my hand, her apology in neat script. Now, every time I close my eyes, I see her standing in that hallway. No face, just the glint of a locket. and I hear her soft apology echo, and I'm left with the same cold question that wakes me in the dark. Who is still saying sorry in the graveyard hours? And why won't they let me leave? I didn't expect a simple trespassing call at the old Highland storage facility to unspool the way it did. It was 1:58 a.m. when dispatch pinged me. Unit 7, burglar alarm at Highland Storage off County Road 9. No motion detected on cameras, but alarm tripped. Address is 4612 Highland Drive. Keyholder en route. I glanced at my watch. 2:17 a.m. I'd been parked at the station, drinking lukewarm coffee, trying to shake the memory of the lamp in that trailer park. I killed the engine, grabbed my flashlight, and slid into my raincoat, though the forecast promised no precipitation. Highland Storage was a cluster of steel-sided units, 8 rows of mismatched doors painted peeling blue and rust. A single security light cast a weak pool at the entrance. Beyond that, darkness swallowed everything. I drove slowly up the long driveway, tires crunching on gravel. The alarm box blinked red. No camera feed, no motion sensor, just the klaxon blaring somewhere inside. I parked beside the box, radioed. Unit 7 checking alarm at Highland Storage. Then I noticed footprints in the mud. Just one set, shoe tread prints leading past the 3rd row. The ground was soft from earlier fog, but no one had driven over it since. I'd seen the lot empty less than an hour ago. I stepped out, light beam scanning the rows. The footprint pattern was clear. Heel, ball, toe, spaced evenly, as if someone walked, purposeful, not running. The prints headed toward storage unit 306, its door padlocked. The alarm switch was mounted on the side. I could see its red light blinking. No camera would have picked up these prints. The sole sensor was pressure on the floor mat inside. I called in. Footprints to Unit 306. No surveillance. Breaking and entering in progress. A pause. Backup is 15 minutes out, dispatch said. I crossed to 306, flashlight dancing across peeling numbers. The padlock was intact but old, rusted, hinge stiff. I pressed my hand against the door. It was slightly ajar, at least an inch, though the lock looked unbroken. I pressed my back to the metal, peered inside, pitch black. A low humming, like refrigeration. Only there shouldn't be any fridges in a storage unit. I eased the door further, mindful of the angle so no one could duck out behind me. My flashlight plunged into darkness. Rows of cardboard boxes stacked floor to ceiling. A folding chair. A covered motorcycle frame at the back. The humming was louder. Mechanical, but low. I called, "Police, come out." My voice echoed, distorted by damp metal. Silence. Then a scrape at the far end, like a chair dragged slowly across concrete. My heart sped. I radioed, backup ETA 5 minutes. I stepped inside, boots crunching on gravel floor. The boxes were stamped in neat handwriting. Toys, books, tools, Xmas decor. None matched the contents. Each box was full of rags. The humming led me toward the motorcycle frame, its tarp pulled halfway back. Underneath, I saw a generator. Fresh, fuel tank full, running, exhaust venting through a hole cut in the back wall. Someone rigged this unit as a workshop, breathing room sealed by metal. Something odd. On the generator's fuel tank, scrawled in eyeliner thin black marker, were initials I recognized. E.T. My stomach knotted. Emily Turner. The child from the trailer park, the girl who died on Miller Road. I swallowed. Surely it was someone else with the same initials. But the handwriting matched the neat block letters of "I'm sorry" on that envelope. I clicked my light around. On the floor, a single red slipper, size child small, left foot only, lay by the tarp edge. identical in shape and size to the one I found on Elm Street months ago. Same cracked leather, worn tread. My breath caught. I bent and picked it up, slipping it into an evidence bag. The humming stopped. I froze. The generator died with a click. Silence pressed in. No footsteps, no voices. I pressed my back to the wall, radioing Unit 7 inside Unit 306, possible connection to prior missing juvenile. Generator shut off. Requesting immediate assistance. Nothing but static. I swept the beam across the boxes. One was torn open. Inside, instead of rags, I saw tiny porcelain dolls with blank faces, limbless, each missing one shoe. On the top doll, a handwritten tag read, "For you." I recoiled, clicking the light off and on. The dolls sat in a neat row on the concrete floor. My flashlight beam quivered as I shone it at the last doll. Its eyes were painted over with black slashes. Something scraped behind me, slow and deliberate. I wheeled around, heart pounding. My flashlight picked out darkness beyond the generator, beyond the tarp. Another aisle of boxes. From the shadows, a soft giggle, childlike but twisted, echoing off metal walls. I swallowed, voice tight. "Emily, show yourself." Silence. Then another giggle, right beside me. I spun, gun drawn, sweeping the beam along the jamb. Nothing. My chest burned. I moved toward the generator, hand trembling on the trigger. A small handprint appeared on the generator's metal tank, fresh, muddy. The mark was too small to be grown, yet the initials remained intact. I pressed my palm to the paint, smudged. My blood ran cold. I backed toward the exit, each step slow, careful. My boot struck a newspaper printout lying on the floor, dated 6 months ago. Headline, "Church Caretaker Disappears at Midnight." I frowned, radioing dispatch. Found old newspaper in storage. Caretaker case, unrelated. I heard a thump behind me, a large box falling in the back corner. I shone the light. The dolls were gone. In their place, a single box stood upright, its taped flaps open like a mouth. Inside lay a single photograph, the little girl with pigtails, smiling in daylight, brand new print. I dropped it, stepping back. Suddenly, the door slammed shut. Metal screeched. I slammed into it, flashlight beam bouncing. The padlock strap dangled, door latched from inside. I stood, pressed ear to the wall. Silence. My radio, dead. My phone, no signal. I was sealed in. Every instinct screamed to flee, but I forced myself to think. I found the flashlight's side button, activated the strobe. The flicker revealed motionless boxes, rack shadows crawling across the walls. I peered at the ceiling vent, grill intact, no way up. Then I saw it. Across from the door, a seam where 2 panels met, slightly raised. I touched it, felt a gap. It was a service panel. I pocketed my badge and radio, crouched, and began prying at the edge with my knife. The panel's rivets held fast. Panic seeped in. Behind me, a soft voice said, "Help me." So faint I thought it was in my head. I spun. Nothing. Then a shadow passed across the door's small window. A silhouette of a child in pigtails, too short to see over the deadbolt. I lunged forward, bat against the window, shattering glass inward. Pain seared my hand. I reached through, twisted the deadbolt, and yanked the door open. Outside, the lot was empty. No owner truck, no officer backup, just the security light's weak glow. I staggered out, gasping, flashlight dropping. The bloody footprint of a small child marked the gravel, leading toward the tree line. I stumbled after it until broken glass crunched underfoot and the footprints vanished. I found my cruiser unlocked, keys still in the ignition. I jumped in, started it, locked the doors. My radio buzzed. "Unit 7? It was my partner's voice, distant. "Are you okay?" I exhaled. I need to leave. Now. I tore out of the lot, tires howling on gravel, streetlight beams blurring past. I didn't stop until I was home. I sat in the driveway for 30 minutes before stepping inside. That night I couldn't sleep. The image of that little shadow, the damaged dolls, the generator initials, E.T., all faded into the dark corners of my mind. I found the red slipper still in its bag on my desk, next to the battered locket and the white envelope with, "I'm sorry." I realized I hadn't just stumbled on random calls. I'd been drawn into something far older than me, something that left child's tokens behind like breadcrumbs. Now I carry those tokens in a box beneath my floorboards. One cracked slipper, one silver locket, one faded note, one porcelain doll missing its shoe, one torn newspaper, and one photograph of a smiling girl with pigtails. I don't know who she was or is. I don't know why she leaves these things. But I can't shake the feeling she's still here, walking those empty rows at Highland Storage, waiting for someone to finally find her. And I still haven't answered the question that lingers in my mind, echoing through every locked door, every abandoned lot. What do you do when the missing leave you clues instead of cries, and you're the only one who hears them? I thought I'd seen it all, until the call came just before 4 a.m. A farmer's fence line had collapsed on Highway 27, and witnesses reported a figure standing by the road, waving a flashlight so erratic it looked like a distress signal. No vehicles stopped, no phones answered, just that light and a man leaning against the broken fence. Dispatch was terse. Unit 7 welfare check. Possible stranded motorist. I glanced at my watch, 3:52 a.m. The graveyard shift was winding down, but something in my gut told me to hurry. I hit the siren, soft, urgent, and sped down the two-lane blacktop flanked by cornfields whispering in the night wind. My headlights carved through a shallow fog, illuminating reflectors on posts like distant dancers. When I crested a small hill, I saw him. A lone figure in a high-visibility vest, leaning on a flashlight's arc, its beam slicing across broken fence rails into the dark. No car in sight, not even tire tracks. I killed the siren and slowed to a crawl, engine ticking over. I rolled down the window and called out, "Sir, are you okay?" His beam snapped toward me, blindingly bright. I recoiled, pressing my hand to my face. When I looked again, the figure was gone. No silhouette in the glow, no outline on the ground. I stepped out, radioing. Unit 7. No sign of stranded motorist. Flashlight lighted briefly, then vanished. My boots crunched on the gravel shoulder as I walked toward the fence. The rails lay splintered, jagged, blood-red mud caking the posts where they'd hit the ground. I knelt, traced a fingertip through the mud, partial shoe tread. I radioed in the finding, glanced across the field. Nothing but stalks swaying under the moon. Then I heard a slow rasping shuffle from behind the fence. A dragging, like someone pulling something heavy. I snapped my flashlight beam toward the sound. Among the broken rails I saw the edge of a tarp puddled with water and mud. I moved closer, each step measured, adrenaline prickling my skin. The tarp was pulled over something long and narrow, like a body. I swallowed, reached out, and yanked it back. Nothing but a fallen fence post wrapped in discarded clothing. A battered neon vest and work boots, empty inside, lying as if someone had stepped out. I flicked through the pockets, an oil-smudged radio, no battery, a scrap of paper with the letters E.T. scrawled in child's handwriting. I felt bile rise. I stood, beam trained on the field. My radio crackled, static, then dispatch. Unit 7, do you copy? Yes, I said, voice tight. I found work boots and a vest, empty, no victim. Back up en route, they replied. Before they could give me an ETA, I heard footsteps in the corn, soft, dragging, coming closer. I leveled my flashlight, picked up my pulse in my throat. The corn rows parted, and there she was. A little girl in pigtails standing barefoot in the mud, wearing her high-visibility vest, face clean, eyes hollow. She watched me, head tilted. I froze. Her flashlight lay at her feet, beam flickering in crosses on the ground. She raised a hand and said softly, "I'm sorry." Then she turned and walked away, slipping between stalks like water through fingers. I chased her light for a moment, boots sinking, but the rows stretched longer than memory, bending back on themselves. Behind me, the fence rails clattered as if falling in a breeze, or someone pushing them over. I ran back to my cruiser, radioing frantic, "Dispatch, child sighted, no car, she just said she's sorry." No response but static. I yanked open my door, slammed inside, locked it, and called out, "Get me backup, now!" My engine roared. I tore onto the highway, headlights bouncing on corn rows, boots and vest on the shoulder receding in my mirror. I didn't stop until I reached the station, heart pounding, hands shaking on the wheel. Inside the station, I slammed the keys on the desk. My partner looked up. What the hell happened? I handed him the vest and boots, covered in mud and autumn leaves, and the scrap of paper with E.T. inked in a child's hand. He paled, eyes wide. We turned on the station lights. The clerk flicked on additional overhead bulbs, and for the first time since the shift began, the radio crackled alive with traffic reports and dispatch pings, normal noise filling the room. We checked the logs, no missing children in our jurisdiction, no witnesses who saw anyone on Highway 27. The farmer's fence was repaired at dawn, but no one claimed any vest or boots. No receipts for purchase of that model vest in town. That morning, I pulled my box from beneath the floorboards. The box with tokens. The cracked slipper, silver locket, shattered doll, torn newspaper, white envelope, photograph, porcelain shoe, generator doll, and now the neon vest and boots. I examined the vest's reflective stripe, faded initials stitched in black thread. Emily Turner. I sat at my desk and placed the vest atop the pile. The paper stiffened in my palm. I'm sorry. I realized then that nothing I've seen across these graveyard hours was random. Each token, each heartbeat in the dark, each unanswered call belongs to her, someone who never left but can't move on. After everything, after every missing person and each locked door, I face the same truth. I'm only here because she wants me to be, because I can find what no one else ever did. I ran my finger along the reflective stripe as morning light filtered through the blinds. I felt a chill under the warmth. Something inside me shifted, an ache I've carried for every soul who glimpsed her in the dark. And I understood that tomorrow's grief will come too soon, because she's still waiting out there, walking fence lines and abandoned lots, waiting for someone to finally stay with her. I start the tape at 12:03 a.m. My cruiser's clock is off by a couple minutes. I haven't bothered syncing it since my last shift change. The morning dispatcher sounds distant but awake. Unit 7, noise complaint at 403 Maple Street. Neighbor reports loud voices inside a condemned house. Routine enough. I flip on the overheads, pull away from the station and head east. Maple Street is 90% abandoned by midnight. Empty lots with rusted swing sets. Gates propped open on broken hinges. Street lamps that died months ago. I navigate past splintered mailboxes and half-demolished garages. My headlights catch every stray soda can, every stray cat fleeing into the shadows. I keep scanning the rear view. No tail, no hidden headlights. Just me driving into silence. When I arrive at number 403, the house sits shuttered, paint peeling like old skin. The front door is ajar an inch. The trees behind it press in from either side, branches scratching an unsteady beat on the roof. I kill the cruiser's engine and the night folds in on itself. For a moment, I can't breathe past the weight of still air. I step out. Gravel shifts under my boots, sounding too loud. In my left hand, I hold the flashlight. In my right, my service weapon. I rap on the doorframe with my flashlight handle, once, twice. Nothing. I clear my throat. Fairfax County PD, anyone home? My words hang unreturned. The beam sweeps across the hallway. The wallpaper is mold-speckled. Broken picture frames lean on the floor. I feel the urge to call it in and leave. But the dispatcher's counting on me. The neighbor heard voices. Could be squatters. Could be nothing. I step across the threshold. Every footstep echoes. My breathing changes. I taste cold metal at the back of my throat. At the end of the narrow hallway, I see a faint glow. Upstairs. I whisper into the mic. Backup requested. Possible trespassers upstairs. No answer. The radio crackles twice, then goes silent. I hesitate at the bottom of the stairs. The glow flickers, like a TV screen left unattended. I put one boot on the first step. There's a low creak, then silence. I climb 3 more steps, flashlight swinging. The floorboards are damp, warping under pressure. I pause halfway, swivel the beam down the hallway, 3 closed doors and 1 cracked door at the far end. Warm light spills from that crack. I approach slowly. The door's edge is scorched. Charred paint curls like ash. I press against the frame, peer in. A single lamp sits on the floor, casting long, crooked shadows against the opposite wall. There's no furniture, only the lamp, no occupant. The bulb hums softly. I step inside. The floor is sticky. I kneel and run a gloved finger across the surface. It smears, reddish-brown. My pulse quickens. I scan the room. No footprints, no furniture, not even a chair or table to suggest someone's been here. Just that lamp and a smooth wooden floor made tacky. A sudden clatter on the landing behind me makes me spin. I sweep my light back to the hallway. The other doors are moving. 1 inch here, 1 inch there, like they're breathing. I swallow, press my back to the wall and reach for my mic. Give me an ETA. I stop. A strangled static, then a click. 10-4, I hear you. Does dispatch always copy my transmissions? Or did someone else broadcast? The words came back in my own voice. I squat low, peering down the hallway. The cracked door swings closed by itself. Gentle, deliberate. I fumble for the doorknob, but it's locked from the inside. No windows, no visible way to see in. I draw my gun and place it against the wood. Open up, I command. Nothing. Another thud. Upstairs behind me. Footsteps? No. Too light, too quick. Like a bird landing on wood. I swing the flashlight to the staircase. The glow up there is gone. Patches of dark wood between the loonies of light from my torch. I can't see anything. I breathe in and out, trying not to think of all the stories I've heard about decaying buildings and squatters. My radio chimes. Unit 7, status? That voice, calm, incredulous. I hesitate. I'm investigating a call. Something weird's going on. The voice sighs. Unit 7, can you confirm anyone's in danger? I swallow. I don't know yet. My own uncertainty cracks a path down my spine. I glance back at the closed door. The lamp's glow pulses through the crack. Dim, then bright. It feels like breathing. I slip off my belt and wrap it over the knob, tugging until it clicks open. The door swings inward, carried on a sigh. Inside, the lamp sits where it was, but now it's switched off. The The bulb's glass is intact, no scorch marks. I train the flashlight on the center of the floor, 3 footprints facing east toward the staircase. No exit prints. I look up, no one. The hallway behind me stretches into darkness. My heart thumps so hard I can hear it. I shine the light again on the footprints. They're drifting off the floorboard edge, as if stepping into nothing. Unit 7, respond with a status update, the dispatcher says. My voice shakes on the recording. Looks like nothing, no one here, exiting property. I backpedal toward the stairs, careful not to look up. My boots rasp on the boards. I reach the bottom. The front door is still ajar. I pause, glance up. I can't see the upstairs hallway. No light, no sign of life. I step outside. The night air tastes of damp earth. The cicadas are silent. I lock the front door, jog down the porch steps, and climb in. I don't look back. The cruiser's interior is cold enough to wake me. I fire up the engine. The overheads pivot on their own for a second, then stabilize. I drive off Maple Street without calling in. The radio remains silent. I jot "unfounded" in the log later. No evidence of trespass or disturbance. Officially, the call is closed. In my notebook, I write, "lamp puzzle." Footprints vanished. Radio echo. Need to review building plans. On my way back, I pass the stretch of highway near the old train crossing. The crossing arms are down, lights blinking, but no train in sight. I jam on the brakes. The night stretches unbroken. I tap the horn. Nothing changes. The arms slowly lift. I drive through the crossed beams and glance in the mirror. Arms remain raised. No train, no machinery, just my reflection riding close in the taillights. I hit record again at 12:47 a.m., 40 minutes since Maple Street. My eyes won't quit twitching from checking the rear view. I'm on Oak Grove Road now, headed toward the 24-hour petrol station at the county line. Dispatch sent me for a suspicious person loitering, but when I called it in, I was told the witness said she just felt wrong about the guy. The station sits under a half-dead neon sign that buzzes and flickers. Gas, diesel, coffee. The pumps stand idle, hoods raised on 2 cars near the convenience stores. I pull in, kill the lights, and slip out. Gravel crunches under my boots, always too loud, and the air smells of stale fuel and damp asphalt. The station's walls are caked in grime, price decals peeling like bandages. I keep the cruiser's spotlight off until I'm close to the doors, then I flip it on. The glass entrance is sticky to the touch. I rap twice. Nothing. A faint overhead hum echoes, like an air conditioner struggling to breathe. I angle my beam into the store. Empty aisles, dead registers, and a coffee machine pumping steam into oblivion. I step inside, flashlight low, weapon drawn. The hiss of steam stops. Then a soft sigh, deep, exhausted. I sweep the light. No clerk, no customers. Behind the counter, a ringing phone. No one on the line. The clerk's log is open, pen resting on a blank line. I pick it up. The last entry was 5 days ago. All the numbers are scratched out. I holster my weapon enough to dial dispatch. Unit 7. Interior clear, no subject. My own voice sounds hollow through the speaker. The response crackles. Copy. Stand by for clearance. I hang up the radio, spin on my heel, and there he is. A man stands 15 feet away by the coffee machine. He's hunched, elbows on his knees, face hidden behind greasy hair. He rocks side to side, as though for warmth. No cup, no chair, just him and the hum. I step forward. "Sir, can I help you?" His head snaps up. The beam catches his eyes, pale, unfocused, drowning in midnight shadows. He doesn't answer. I crouch level with him, careful not to loom. My hand hovers above the grip of my sidearm. "Hey, can you tell me your name?" He doesn't respond, but shifts his weight and stands. His face tilts toward me, lips parting in a silent question. Then the door behind me slams shut. The fluorescent lights flicker, off, on, off. The coffee machine hisses. He blinks, mouth opening into a small, jagged smile. I call out, "Dispatch, I need backup." But the radio only emits static. I yank it away from my belt. Battery's dead. I spin back to the window by the pumps. It's dark. No glow from the neon, no streetlights. Just the blackness of cornfields beyond. When I turn, the man's gone. The only movement is the curls of steam drifting above the coffee machine. I approach the counter. The logbook is still open, now filled with writing, words I didn't see before. Every page scrawled with the word "run" repeatedly, in different hands and inks. My blood runs cold. On the counter, 2 coffee cups, one full, one empty. The full one steams in the dim light. No lid, no marks. I reach for it. The steam coils around my fingers, warm and sickly sweet like burnt sugar. My reflection ripples in the black coffee. I see my eyes, wide, red-rimmed. I leave the cup and step back, keeping my flashlight trained on the aisles. No exit signs, no other doors. I inch toward the front door. It rattles behind me as though something on the other side is pushing to get in. I test the handle. Locked. I draw my weapon and press my shoulder into the door. It doesn't budge. Then a soft thump from the register. I pivot. The drawer is sliding open on its own, metal scraping. I rush forward, flip it shut. My hands shake, and I accidentally fire a shot into the ceiling. I freeze. The echo cracks the silence like lightning. My heart hammers. I glance at the drawer, open again. I hold my breath, grip the flashlight tightly. The drawer slams shut. No warning, no push, it just goes. I back away, slide down against the register until I sit. My weapon rests on my thigh, useless. Minutes pass. The coffee machine sputters back to life. The door behind me clicks unlocked. I stand, holster my weapon, and approach. My reflection in the glass is smugged with dust. I ease the door open, stepping onto the cold concrete. The neon is dark, the pumps are dry, and the lot is empty. No sign of the man, no footprints. I climb back in the cruiser, lock the doors. The radio kicks back on. "Unit 7, what's your status?" I stab at the mic. "Backup, I'm out." The voice repeats, static slicing. "Copy that." "Proceed." I start the engine, spin the car around, and roll, back onto the blacktop. As I leave, the neon flickers one last time, blinking "open" in hesitant bursts. I drive 20 minutes before I can bring myself to log the call. I write, "Subject gone on arrival." Evidence of disturbance. Log entries reading, "Run, unknown subject." No prints. The code, 22-12-unfounded. I close the notebook. Tension coils in my gut. My next call comes in at 2:11 a.m., a welfare check on an adult male alone in a foreclosed church parking lot. "He's been standing there for hours," says the caller. That's routine, redeeming even. I hit the shoulder, park under a lone lamp that sputters against the cold. The lot's empty, no car, no man. I kill the engine, step out. Gravel under boots, steam rising from my exhale. I call in. I'm at the parking lot, no subject. My own voice is barely louder than the cicadas. I sweep the light across rows of concrete pew foundations, tall grass brushing against each other like hushed prayer. I exhale. "Send me the address again," I say into the mic. Dispatcher reads it back. I know the place. I'd driven past it countless times. Then I see him, leaning against the church's side, hood up, face in darkness. He's staring right at me. I raise my light. His head jerks sideways like a rag doll tugged at the neck. I step forward. "Sir, you okay?" He doesn't move. I keep the beam on his hood and jackets. Dark denim, no signs of blood or weapons. I walk closer. The ground is damp. My tires left tracks. His boots leave none. When I'm 6 feet away, he whispers, "He's inside." His voice is wet, hollow. My flashlight shakes as I raise it to his mouth. Lips pale, breath fogging. "Who's inside?" I ask. He tilts his head. "Inside." He points. My beam swings to the church doors. Heavy wood, locked. No sounds from within. I call dispatch. "Unit 7, possible trespass inside church." Dispatcher replies, "Backup en route." I point at the doors. "Sir, I need you to..." He vanishes. I spin, but only see grass and foundation slabs. I whirl back to the doors. The lock has been shattered. Jagged wood splintered outward. I grip my flashlight like a baton and step inside. I press record again at 2:17 a.m. My boots click on the threshold as I step into the old church. The door creaks shut behind me. Slow, deliberate. The radio crackles once, then cuts. I reach for the flashlight. It's the only living thing in here. The beam slices through dusty air. Pews stand in crooked rows, splintered at the ends. Hymnals lie scattered on the floor. Pages torn, ink bleeding into the wood. The altar looms ahead, draped in white cloth threadbare with age. Cobwebs lace the corners, and a single candle sits unlit on a tarnished brass stand. Silence presses in. I can hear my own breathing, like a bellows in an empty hall. I sweep the light left. Stained glass windows depict saints I can't name. Moonlight seeps through cracks in the boards, casting fractured color on the floor. I step toward the first pew, flashlight in one hand, service weapon in the other. At the front, the shattered lock on the door lies in splinters at my feet. I step over it, boots crackling dust. The temperature drops. My breath fogs. I flick my headlamp on high. Every surface gleams with a sheen of moisture, condensation forming on the wooden seats. I freeze. A drip echoes from behind the altar. I walk down the center aisle, eyes scanning. A faint humming fills the air, low and resonant, like a choir of voices out of tune. My heartbeat jumps. I follow the sound to the confessional booth on the side wall. The door is ajar. The humming grows louder. I grip the edge of the booth, peer inside. 2 footprints are pressed into the dust, bare and small, as if made by a child. They lead from the booth's interior toward the aisle, then vanish under the pew. I step in. The walls are scratched with scrawlings. "He left it here. They never found him. Please talk." I lean closer, words etched in something dark, sticky. My stomach twists. A soft shuffle behind me. I whirl. Nobody. The pews sit empty. The humming stops. I exhale. My fingers itch to call for backup, but the radio is dead. I slip my phone from my pocket. No signal. I close my eyes, gather myself, and focus on the floorboards beneath me. I step back into the aisle. At the altar, the candle remains unlit. I draw my light across the brass stand. Beneath it, the altar cloth is folded oddly, one corner tucked under, as if someone pressed against it. I kneel, peel back the cloth. A single sheet of paper, yellowed with age, lies beneath. I pick it up. In looping script, January 17th, 1994. I lost sight of him in sanctuary. I turned for 1 second. When I looked back, only the whispers remained. No signature, no explanation. I fold the paper carefully and slip it into my pocket. The humming resumes, softer now, like breath just beyond my ear. I pivot, beam across the chancel. Steam rises from the cracks in the tile floor. I freeze. The altar steps are wet. I slip forward, kneel beside the bottom step, and trace the moisture with my finger. It glistens, red-brown. I stand, sweep the beam toward the back door, locked. I cross the room, each footstep loud as a thunderclap. My flashlight wavers. As I near the exit, something scrapes along the far wall. I let out a sharp breath. I train the light. A shadow darts between pillars. Too fast to be a person. I hear a soft giggle, childlike, echoing. My pulse spikes. I sprint back to the center aisle, gun raised. The pews blur past. Halfway, I skid to a halt. A tiny toy soldier sits at the base of a broken pew, caked in dust. I kneel, pick it up, chipped paint, no name. I slip it into my pocket with the letter. The giggle returns, now just behind my left ear. I swivel. Nobody. The beam catches dust motes dancing. No shape. I force myself forward, toward the side chapel where I saw that man standing. The door to the chapel is closed. I raise my hand but then pull back. My reflection in the glass pane shows someone standing behind me. A blur. I turn, flashlight and gun swinging, but it's empty. My breath hitches. I press my back against the chapel door. Listen. My ears ring. The giggling fades to a soft weep. I slide under the door, into the side room. An old organ sits silent, keys yellowed. The music bench is pushed back, as though someone stood there playing. I walk to the organ, rest a hand on the keys. They're cold, sticky. I lift my finger, then let it drop onto a note, D-sharp, flat and hollow. A low sob cracks the air. I snap off the note, draw my gun. The sobbing comes from behind the organ. I circle around. A small wooden cross on the floor, broken in two. Under it, a single muddy footprint, larger than the ones in the confessional. It leads back into the main hall. I follow. My boots slosh in damp footprints that weren't there seconds ago. The main doors loom ahead. I step into the aisle. In the moonlight, footprints, one set small, one set larger, march from the altar to the front doors. My eyes trace them as they vanish into darkness beyond the porch. My radio springs to life. Unit 7, respond. Before I can answer, it cuts. The whisper comes again, clear as dawn. Find him. It echoes. My knuckles whiten on the weapon. I call out, "Who's there? What do you want?" Only silence. Then, heavy boots on wood above me. I spin, pointing my light up the balcony stairs. They're hidden in shadow. No railing, no steps I recall, but I feel them. I back toward the exit, phone in hand. No signal. My light skitters across the walls as I stumble down the aisle. The giggling returns, softer, urgent. It surrounds me. I break into a run, cross the threshold, and slam the door. My shoulder burns. I hit the lock and the door rattles like someone trying to push in. I don't wait for lights. I dash to my cruiser, fumble the keys, and start the engine. As I peel away, the broken cross spins in the rearview mirror, balanced on my trunk. My breath comes in rattles. I slam the door, lock it, and plant my foot on the accelerator. I drive until Oak Grove Road dissolves into country lanes. I don't call dispatch. I write in my notebook later, church, footprints, hymnals scattered, letter dated, January 17th, 1994. Toy soldier, whisper, find him. No subject located. Code 22-12, unfounded. The wail of the giggle still rings in my skull. The broken cross lies under the passenger seat. The letter rests in my coat pocket. I don't know what or who him is. I can't unhear those voices. I hit record at 2:52 a.m., hands still shaking long after I left the church. I've been driving on back roads so long the stations on the radio all dropped out. My dashboard clock reads 3:07 a.m., but I don't trust it. Time feels elastic on graveyard. The cruiser's heater sputters, but I keep the windows cracked. The air tastes of damp earth and loneliness. I glance down at the broken wooden cross wedged under the passenger seat. Its jagged edge still cuts at the fabric of my uniform. I turn it in my hand. The wood is cold, splintered, the grain warped by age. In my coat pocket, the yellowed letter trembles against my thigh. I almost throw it out the window, but I can't bring myself to. Whoever wrote it was desperate enough to scrawl half a confession on church paper. What was he searching for? Whom did he lose? I find myself back on Oak Grove Road, retracing the route to the gas station. My foot hovers over the accelerator. I debate turning around. Part of me wants to see if the run entries in the log stayed, if the coffee's still steaming with that uncanny sweetness, if the man is still crouched by the machine, waiting, but I can't. I turn off onto Maple Street again, hoping its boarded-up blocks won't call me. When I pass 403, I slow. Door still closed solid, lamp gone, footprints vanished. A street lamp overhead flickers, then dies. I don't stop. My radio sputters to life. Unit 7 status. My throat goes dry. I tap the mic. I'm en route. I stall, unsure what to say. The dispatcher sighs. Copy. Get some rest if you can. The line clicks dead. Rest. Right. I pull off at the station's lot only to see the front desk lighted. The glass door shows my reflection. Pale circles under my eyes, uniform rumpled. I kill the engine and drag myself inside. The night clerk, Officer Martinez, looks up. She yawns. Late night, I force a smile. Unusual round. She nods, skims a paperwork stack. I lean against the counter. Martinez says, "Coffee?" It's fresh. I glance at the pot, steam rising. I reach for a cup. Her eyebrow lifts. No sugar? I take a sip. It tastes bitter, metallic. I feel it burn down my throat. She asks, "Everything okay?" I hesitate, then shake my head. Not really. I slump into the waiting area chair. The fluorescent lights hum overhead. Dust motes dance in the beams. I replay the night in my head, the lamp in the condemned house, the lone figure in the station, the child footprints in a church, the whispers telling me to find someone who vanished. Martinez sets a hand on my shoulder. "You look haunted." I don't argue. I swipe a swipe card at my wrist. Timer logs 3:45 a.m. Too early to clock out, but I've done enough. She nods at my cross. I glance down. She's seen. She doesn't ask. I leave the station. The lot's emptier now. My cruiser waits for me like a patient dog. I slide in and start the engine. On my seat, tucked under my belt, is something new. A small drawing, folded. I don't remember making it. I open it. It's a child's scrawl in faded crayon. A blind figure in uniform. Headlights behind him. The words, "He's still out there," scribbled above. No signature, no date. Just shaky letters that echo the whisper in the church. Find him. My stomach knots. I set the drawing on the dash where it catches the red glow of the instrument panel. For a moment I expect it to move, legs growing longer, lines shifting. But it doesn't. Just crayon and paper. I drive off, cruiser cutting through the gloom. The roads roll by in monotone. Cornfields, shuttered storefronts, silent crossings. I grip the wheel until my knuckles whiten. When I look down, the drawing's gone. I jerk the wheel to a stop. My heart thumps. The dash is empty. No paper, no cross. I kill the engine, no radio, no cell. Just me and the empty seat. I press my fingers into the leather, searching for a tear or a crease. Nothing. The seat's smooth, worn. I wonder, did I imagine the drawing? Did someone slip it there while I wasn't looking? The station clock flashes 4:02 a.m. I press record one last time. My voice is tired but steady. I drove back here expecting closure. There's none. The footprints vanish, the voices echo, the logs fill themselves. The drawing, if it ever existed, is gone. I'm left with questions and the weight of every silent hour I've worked. I don't know who him is, or who left that picture. But I do know this. When the world sleeps, something moves in the shadows. Maybe a person, maybe a memory. Hunting for an answer no one has. I don't have to find it. I only have to survive it. I press stop. I don't know what I'll do with this tape. Maybe I'll bury it, maybe I'll pass it to someone who still believes there's sense to be found. But for now, I fold my hands on the steering wheel and wait for Dawn. He's still out there.